And we are underway. A nice first corner. And Inigo Anton
is going to win his first race.
We're running championships all throughout Asia Pacific. We need a premier championship with proper production, proper entry fees and prize money. And that's what E1 Championship is.
E1 Championship really levels the playing field.
We've made a great start on e-racing.
It allows people in the real-life teams and the sim racing teams to compete on even footing, and they can be competitive against each other.
The level of racing was really, really high.
It's a terrific sporting competition.
We want to make the racing even harder and more realistic. In race room, the drivers and teams have learned how to have contact without breaking the car.
We had so many incidents on the track that we had a couple of races banned from competing for the last 2 rounds.
E1's going to get bigger and better all the time. As we become a global championship, we're going to get more European teams and drivers taking part as well.
Hello and a very warm welcome to all the viewers across the region, in fact possibly globally as well, to the E1 Championship 2022. My name's Adam Carruthers, alongside me the racing director and a man whose hair keeps getting progressively longer year by year, the one and only Alex Young. Now this is organised by Axel Sports, EGG and Astro, supported by MAM, that's the Motorsports Association of Malaysia, and Race Room, and we're broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. Tell all your friends about it. Look up E1 Championship, also on Arena Plus Suka. So the most important question I'm going to ask Alex all day is, particularly for our newer viewers I should add, what is the E1 Championship?
Well, E1 Championship is the creme de la creme for esports motorsports. You know, we are the e-racing championship that's been going on now 3 years. I think we've done 3 championships already over the last 2 years. So now we're into the 2022 season. And I tell you what, I'm super excited. We got a great lineup, a new car, and it's going to be a manic championship.
We will take a look at the car, we'll take a look at the drivers' profiles in just a bit, but to summarize, and I was involved last year, but this feels like a step up. The competition, everything about it has just gone up a notch, or is that just me?
No, it definitely has. I mean, you know, we focus first on the Asia Pacific region, but you know, the quality of the racing has gotten so good. We wanted to get the Europeans involved, and we do. We got some really good teams involved, and I'm really excited. We're back on Race Room with the new car, which is going to be great.
You and I are Malaysian. We should bring in a European into the conversation, one of our commentators alongside. And I'm only going to say his name once, Amir, because we all know him as Ammo, alongside Des Corkhill. Gents, are we excited for what we have in store? Today is just the start of 7 races in total.
Yes, Adam, thanks for the introduction. It's very nice for an old man like me to be very much involved in a young man's sport and to watch the continued evolution of E1 Championship. Alex Young started this one. It was a very local competition when we first came to air. Now it's genuinely a world class and a world involvement. You've got Germans, you've got Czechs, you've got Romanians. They're coming from all over the place, Ammo. It really is an evolution.
Absolutely, Des. It feels very cosmopolitan, doesn't it? To have all these international names, plus all the real-world teams involved as well. So it really adds to the credibility of the championship to have it this star-studded, Des.
So I think, Adam, yes, we're excited.
We are excited, you're excited, but what about the drivers themselves? We've never had back-to-back winners in E1, have we, Ammo? I mean, this makes it stand out in terms of competition, and our reigning champ, Mohammed Ibrahim, certainly got a big task on his hands if he wants to retain it and be the first to do so.
Yeah, indeed, absolutely, because for him, the real target's on his back now, because he definitely was the real perennial frontrunner throughout the entire season, especially given the fact that it was his game. Now, it's on Race Room, back on Race Room, from iRacing. It's going to be a challenge for him as well. The target is well and truly on his back, and he will have to really put a lot of effort through the season to retain that title.
Again, it has gone up a notch. Enough talking, let's take a look at some of the driver profiles. In fact, all of them who are going to be involved in E1 Championship 2022. Over to you, Des and Ammo.
Yes, the driver profiles. We've got 11 teams, starting off with a flash from Singapore. Jin Masvilton, a 22-year-old, is partnering with Mohammed Tasbi, a 20-year-old. Both of these guys capable of winning races, though they haven't won on the E1 Championship yet. Blackhearts Racing, first of the three real-world teams that are involved here, with two really cool calm operators in the form of Josh Perwin and Kaylin Chin. Josh, of course, going to be a bit rapacious to actually better than his second place finish last season. Rapacious, good word. Inigo Anton. This is a young kid who has really taken the Philippines by storm, both on track and in the sim cars. He is really a kid to look out for. Look out for Safe House Racing from Korea. Conversely, on the other side, we have a debutant for this season, but with two familiar names, Nakib Aslan and Nabe Aslan. The second of the two teams that have familial ties. These two are going to be ones to watch out for this season. There's a double threat from Brunei coming up in Apex E-Racing. And we have got, well, Lance Lau. I think Lance is actually suffering a stomach upset or something. He's not going to be racing today, but Ben Seek will be racing today. Let's see if they can improve on last season's performance. Coming up next is their sister team, Apex Racing Academy, with two new drivers, but with a lot of experience right behind him. Mohammed Zikri, number 10, will be looking to impress in his first full season, while Julian Koons is a guy who needs no introduction on the racing platform. He's one of the guys to watch out for the championship. Now we get to the serious stuff. The Virtual Drivers TX3 team from France, Mihai Neg from Romania, a 20-year-old with good success over there, and Christopher Hogfeldt as well from Sweden. The Europeans are coming. And speaking of Europeans, this is on the other side. This is West Asia with Mumbai Falcons, another real world team with the defending champion Muhammad Ibrahim. One to watch out for. Alongside him is Ben Benki, who is going to be one of the guys to watch out for the championship as well. Let's bring us back to Southeast Asia, and from JMX Phantom team in Indonesia, we've got real racer Presley Martono, a 22-year-old who's won the World Series of Karting in 2014. He's alongside the exciting Filipino, the 21-year-old Russell Reyes. And a famous name in the world of motorsports from Formula One, racing in the 2022 cars, and it's Williams Esports from Grove in the UK with Jack Keithley alongside Martin Stefanko. This is an exciting lineup as well, Des. It's going to be one to watch out for the championship. And the EGG network, well, we've got young Axel Nocom, 10 years of age. He's just a couple of years younger than I am. Look out for this kid. He's one for the future.
Thanks there to the commentary team. Let's talk about your expertise. Let's talk race formats, reverse grid, sprints, qualifying. What changes from last year and what can we expect throughout the course of this year?
Well, I think our format works really well. You know, we've seen great, exciting races. We also want to see the best driver win, but we also want to see him to win in the last corner of the last lap of the full season. And we have had that sort of exciting racing, so we're not changing it that much. Tweaking it a little bit. Qualifying is going to be a bit longer, 10 minutes long, and everyone has to start from the pit lane.
Okay, so 10 minutes for qualifying, and that's up from 5 minutes last year. Why is that?
Well, because everyone's starting from the pit lane now. We're trying to replicate real life, like in Formula One, when everyone goes out the pit lane and they have to find their space. You know, a lot of the sim drivers are just used to doing hot laps. They're not used to finding space. So it's good to replicate the real life. And when you come out the pit lane, we need to make it a bit more time for them to try and get the laps in.
Okay, well, let's make it official. This is when we put up all the graphics on the screen. Alex has talked us through it. How long is everything? How long is the sprint in the grid and so forth?
That's right. Okay, so for qualifying, we just mentioned it's only 10 minutes long. The sprint race then comes after that. That's 15 minutes long. And then after that, we go over a 30-minute race, but that's top 10 reverse on the grid. And there are the points. So you get points in qualifying for the top 5, equal points for race 1 and 2 because race 2 is longer even though there's a reverse grid. And of course in each race you get 2 points for fastest lap.
Okay, points accumulation itself, how does this work?
And of course drop points. When we do online racing, you obviously inevitably get, sometimes drivers have an issue, the internet drops out and they get dropped out of the race. So we wanted to try and reduce the unfortunate bad luck that a driver can happen. And so we have allowed drop points for the Drivers' Championship, not for the Team's Championship, but for the Drivers' Championship. If you have an issue, you will drop points from your lowest score, which should still allow you to compete at the end.
Amo and Des, for today, the track setup, what are we looking at?
Yeah, we're at the Sepang International Circuit in Kuala Lumpur, or just south of Kuala Lumpur. It's a 5.5 kilometre circuit. It's internationally recognised. The big thing about this is the two long straights. The home straight, of course, and is preceded by a hairpin and a long straight coming in. That really does sort the men out from the boys.
Well, for the car setup, this is what we have for this year. The Formula Race Room X22, the V8, V6 turbo hybrid cars that we see in Formula 1 in real life is now being seen here in Race Room and is replicated quite well. It has over 1,000 horsepower and is a real handful for the drivers to drive.
Looks very good, I have to say, but we're all in it for the cash, let's be honest.
Yeah.
What are we looking at? There's a lot of dough on offer, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think with the total prize pool of $20,000 US, it's the biggest in the region, and you can see the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship get their points. So that's extended from last year, and you know, we want to reward high quality racing with more money, and that's what we've done. However, in the Teams Championship, it's just the top 5. And
Just
there
the
you
top
are.
5.
And obviously top 5, there you go, 3, 2, 1, 600 and 400.
All right, we are gearing up for qualifying, so as we're waiting for that, I need to ask, from your expertise here, aggressive driving. Look, I'm not a driver, I'm a viewer, I'm a fan, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Are we going to expect that?
We're going to see that. You know, we do have tight rules on how much contact you can have, but you are allowed contact. And at the very highest level, there's no such thing as a non-aggressive driver. You have to fight for every piece of tarmac, and we have professional drivers here. They will be super, super aggressive.
We've seen some aggressiveness in the past, Ammo, and just thinking about it, Muhammad Ibrahim in particular, how much competition is he going to be facing today? Do you still consider Muhammad Ibrahim a favorite or not?
Yeah, I would say so, Adam. He is one of the favorites for the championship, but he's got his work cut out because, again, we did mention earlier just now, iRacing was his favorite platform. Race Room, he kind of struggled a bit in that first full season he had before he unfortunately had to be let go by Stratos, but he came back big time in Season 2 to win the championship outright. So now, yes, bigger target is back, but it's not just him who's actually the most aggressive driver on the grid. We can also see the likes of Russell Reyes because I've had experience with him. This guy, he's the type that will try to pry the door open even though you had the line at him. And this will be great if we get to see Ibrahim and Russell go head to head to see who's the most aggressive driver on the grid.
Perfect. Looking out for it already. Think qualifying is just about to start. So, Des and Ammo, the mic is all yours.
Yes, qualification has actually already got underway. We're 30 seconds into the 10-minute qualification. It is a longer opportunity. Let's start with Muhammad Ibrahim. He is the defending champion. He's one of the first guys out, the Mumbai Falcons driver. Now, you talk about his characteristics, but you say Race Room isn't his main game. How will that show itself on the circuit, Ammo?
Well, not driving strap per se, because he can still drive properly, but it's just a matter of how he can maintain that pace, and it could definitely be a struggle for him because compared to iRacing last time, it looked so flawless when he drove into that. He could use a higher gear and the car can still maintain speed. For this one, you can almost see if the car wiggles about a bit more or he's taking it a bit gingerly, you can tell that he's probably not on the pace. So that's the probably big thing that we can see there's.
Okay, let's have a look at another couple of the superstars from our part of the world in Southeast Asia. Naqib Aslam, he has won other competitions. He hasn't won the E1 Championship as yet, but he has got race wins under his name. And he's a champion, of course. He has got race wins under his name. He's a real guy to look out for.
Yeah, and he holds the most record for the number of wins in the E1 Championship with 13 right now. He would like to add that tally from 13 and not stay at unlucky number 13. But yeah, to be back here, and he's back with his brother as his teammate, plus a brand new team as well. It's going to be quite the opportunity to see whether or not he could actually deal with that challenge. But nonetheless, I think it'll be one challenge he will relish this.
Okay, another one I really want to have a look at is young Axel Knockom. 10 years of age. This is ridiculous, apart from the fact he's already a very, very talented driver. We've seen him win races on Race Room in the Philippines. And just look at him, bottom left of your screen. I find this absolutely remarkable. I love this about the E1 Championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love it, the fact that he also has a bandana on. It looks like he is going into a fighting mode when, you know, it's his first race, first proper race in this championship, but it looks as though he's just relishing this opportunity. He really wants to go for it from the word go.
Okay, 7-Star Garage. We're not actually going to see an awful lot of quick laps at the moment because they're on the out lap at the moment. But once we get into around about, well, the next minute or so, or this lap onwards, I suspect we'll see one or two of the guys begin to make a real look at it. Let's look at Jack Keithley. Now, Jack Keithley is one of the guys who's from the Williams esports teams. Williams do not take things lightly.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to
And
sit
he's
on their
fast through sector 1 and 2.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to sit on their hands there. They want to actually win this outright. And look at Keithley using all the road on the outside, coming out of turn 12 into 13, 14. This is really on it, and he is definitely not looking like he's setting a banker lap. He's going for it from the first lap, Des.
Well, you may as well, because you've got the opportunity a bit later on, but he's 500th of a second down. Mohammed Ibrahim has posted a 1:33.944, so the defending champion has shown that he's pretty quick out there as well. Let's just follow Keithley through to the start-finish line, see what kind of time he's done, although he's slowing down quite dramatically. He's 2/10 out. Benz Banki from Slovakia, he is the new race, is the new qualifying leader. He's put in a 1:33.355.
Whoa, what a time. That's actually quite fast for this car, because I've done some testing with this car before, and the most I could get was around the 36. That is actually a really quick time. He got his setup nailed in just about right here to get it on the first lap. So he's gone back to the pit lane to restart his lap and just go for it for a second run. So this presumably will be 3 runs, but if he stuffs it up, it might just be 2 runs needed to get pole position. But 32.3, he has laid the gauntlet down, Des. He's right up there in the timing charge.
Yeah, the Slovakian is the partner of the defending champion, Mohammed Ibrahim. So Mumbai Falcons certainly putting out a very, very strong start. Let's have a look at one of our old favourites, Kalen Chin. He's an Australian young guy based out of Singapore. I know you've got a sneaking suspicion that this kid might come good towards the latter part of this season.
Yeah, certainly. I would say that he will be quite a dark horse, actually, because he's normally having his late season charges to actually get up to the top 5 in the championship. Best he's ever finished was actually in 3rd in season 1. So really then, he's if he could get over his slow start, or conservative start you might say, he could be a real challenge for the title.
Well, he hasn't set a qualifying time as yet, and now we're coming into the final 5 minutes. You're under a little bit of pressure to get yourself a time on there. We saw this a couple of times with some drivers last year. They weren't able to get a qualification time on. Now, there is a reverse grid race, so you don't lose the opportunity to win points, but you certainly don't want to muck up on the first race of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, Des. You don't want to be on the back foot. You want to be on the front foot from the get-go. You just want to get the points in, because qualifying in some other series may not mean much, but in E1 you have to score points from qualifying, so that really makes and breaks your season too.
Well, he's only midway through this lap at the moment, and he's 0.3 of a second down, so he's not going to be on the front row of the grid if this is anything to go by. Let's have a look at Martin Stefanko, another of the Europeans who's come on board. Stefanko, 3rd fastest, the 2nd of the Williams esports racers. He's coming through. He's got a lap of 1:33.6. Is he able to improve on that? The answer is no, but he's still in P3. Williams have come to play properly.
Yes, indeed, and I think Des, he was just actually going to start his lap, so this is his 2nd run overall, so he was just warming up, winding up the car, coming out of the final corner to really go for it on this flying lap. And yes, truth be told, the Williams team, they're going to go definitely for gold. They really want to win this championship.
Stefanko is a 23-year-old from the Czech Republic. Been on the sim since the age of 9 and been racing online since the age of 11, so that tells you just a little bit of how young they do start, as we've seen with Axel Knock-On. Right, let's have a look at the likes of Inigo Anton, the pride of the Philippines. He's in the all black, he's representing the Safe House team. He's coming through now, he's got a 1:34.8. Is he about to start his 2nd lap? I think he is. Now time is running thin for these guys.
Yeah, indeed. 3 minutes, that's not a lot to do. In fact, if you come back into the pit lane now, if you're on a flying lap, you might not have enough time to do a new one. So really then, if you're out on circuit ready, you have enough fuel and tires in it, you're going to have to continue with it. Otherwise, you're going to be caught short.
Inigo Anton, I was on board with him then. I'm now on board with Stefanko, who's had the 2nd, the best time through sector number 2. Banki has banked his lap. 133.2 is leading the way. We've got 2:30 left. Stefanko comes towards the end of his lap. Is he able to improve it? The answer is yes. He is the new leader, Martin Stefanko of Williams. And look at him, he's a big puff out of the cheeks. He is a very, very happy racer. Mohammed Ibrahim in P3 at the moment.
Yeah, he looks like one happy chappy right now, but he can't rest on his laurels right now because there's still 2 minutes left, and the drivers out on circuit is by the dozens. In fact, most of them are still on the circuit, so really then the times could just tumble once the circuit gets really, really rubbered in.
Well, a 133.0, that's a strong, strong marker.
Very, very strong marker indeed, because 33 flat, that's actually faster than the projected times that we were thinking, because 33.5 is already fast enough as Ibrahim pulls to the side, so he actually lets one of the safe house cars through. It looks like Miko Nassi, so he's let Nassi through. He's ready for just one last push. One final push here for pole position to really start off his season on a high.
Okay, Mohammed Ibrahim will maintain his P4 at the moment. Stefanko, Banki, Kitli, Ibrahim, Nakib, Aslan in P5. Right then, Mihai Neg out of Romania. He is racing for the TX3 team, the French team, 20-year-old. At the moment, he's P12 at the moment, a 134.8, a long, long way off the pace. He's on his lap. He's not going to be able to get a better time than that, is he?
Yeah, it looks as though this might just be going to be consigning him to outside of the top 10, but not bad going for him, because this is his debut in a proper international competition, because he's only ever done outside of race room competitive service his Romanian national championship. So really then this is really his first big exposure to international competition.
Okay, Mohammed Ibrahim is in P5 at the moment. Let's go back onto the defending champion to see what Ibrahim is able to do. But again, he's not going to finish this lap, is he? He's got the fastest sector one time. Don't think he's going to finish this lap.
Well, let's just wait and see whether or not Race Room gets some clemency for him, because sometimes if you go through that final sector, they do allow you to finish it. But yeah, you might be caught short. He might be caught short here.
Or he might have timed it perfectly. Stefanko at the moment has the lead. We're keeping an eye on Mohammed Ibrahim. Stefanko from Banki, from Keithley, from Tazbeh, from Mohammed Ibrahim in P5 at the moment. He's knocked Nakib Aslan out of the point. 5 points for Stefanko. What a brilliant start for Williams Esports. P1 and 3 on the grid. Quick thoughts, Amo.
Yeah, you won't be surprised there. Williams also go on to dominate the race, but we're not counting our chickens yet. The qualifying is one thing, race is another.
Yeah, qualifying one thing, race very much another. We saw Axel Knockham struggle just a little bit. Chris Hogfeldt, he struggled just a little bit as well. So, well, the Europeans have come.
Yep.
They've come into our own backyard and they've taken the top 3 places.
Yep, but that's just the battle. The whole war is still going on, Des. We only have one qualifying session out of 7. The races still have to be decided, so we have to wait and see how that happens. But for now, qualifying is looking quite ominous, Des.
Yeah, it is looking pretty good. Stefanko, we hadn't really spoken about Stefanko before. A lot of the European racers, I think, are not particularly well known to us. We can look at their records, we can look at their stats, but then you put them on the track, and they have really come to play.
Yeah, absolutely. They walk the talk, as we can safely say, with that one. So their reputation doesn't really precede them. They really want to go on track and prove what made their name in the European scene.
Okay, I just want to talk about our defending champion, Mohammed Ibrahim. P5, not his game. We keep mentioning him. I keep going back to him because he's the defending champion. That's a very, very respectable performance, P5.
Absolutely, very, very good. And he had pole position before, actually, in Season 1. It's just that he didn't get converted into a win. Now, he has even stiffer competition, but it looks as though he has stepped up to the plate here, and he might just surprise us for this season, even though it's not his platform. Okay, so P5 for him. So the top 5 racers will score points towards the overall weeks and overall championship points tally. We do indeed have a long way to go. It's a 14-race season. It's over 7 rounds, so the 7 qualification sessions going to go on. What about some of your favourites, though, the likes of Kalen Chin and Inigo Anton? Yeah, I might see them actually impress later on in the season, because, like, for example, I mentioned about Kalen, he kind of has a bit of a conservative start, so you might see him have his late season charge. But for now, for the time being at least, we can only assume right now that it was just the car, they're not used to it just yet.
Okay, like the drivers, Adam and Alex, we're going to get ready for the race itself, so over to you for a little bit more analysis.
Thanks for that, guys. Okay, we believe we've got Martin Stefatenko standing by. What is your first question you have for me, Alex?
Martin, what a great pole position. Pole for round one. You didn't get the fastest in Sector 1 or Sector 2, but you strung it together, and you looked really relieved when you went across the line. You want to talk us through that? Martin, can you hear us? Hi, Martin. Just trying to get him online, but Martin, great job.
Yeah, barely. I can barely hear you. It's hard. It's like you're far away.
Okay, but good job. Want to take us through your pole lap?
Yeah, it was interesting. I did not expect it at all. In practice, it looked like we were 3 or 4 tenths behind. So yeah, obviously, when you have only 2 attempts, it's difficult to get it all together. My aim was to just get a clean lap in and then try to improve on it. My lap was clean. It wasn't perfect, but it was clean, and it was enough to get pole, which is a big surprise because Race Room is not my sim that I usually race on. So yeah, it's a nice surprise, and now I'm looking forward to the race because that's going to be difficult with all the tire wear and fuel.
Okay, so what's the strategy? Have you done a lot of long runs? Are you confident you can keep the car under you for the whole race?
We've done long runs, yeah. That was our main focus. We didn't put too much focus on quali because we knew that the races will be more important. So we've done some long runs. Obviously, you don't know what tire wear and fuel is there going to be for the event before the event actually starts. So, but we have a strategy in mind. We know what we're going to do, so hopefully it works out.
Okay. I think you were mentioning as well, Alex, Sector 3, the final sector, was his strongest sector. But sectors 1 and 2, 1 is strong. Why do you think that is?
It's hard to tell. I mean, the final corner, well, the penultimate corner, but especially the final corner, incredibly tricky. The rear end wants to step out. It's very easy to get it wrong. So, yeah, I managed to get a clean final sector. I also used a lot of the overtake. So, yeah, that was probably the main reason.
Okay. Yeah, well, congratulations on the first pole. You got 5 points, and good luck for race 1.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you very much there. The commentary duo were just talking. We didn't really discuss, I mean, to be fair, we had 10 minutes before qualifying actually started. But so impressive straight away. Do you think that's going to be reflective in the actual race? Because qualifying is one thing.
Yeah.
When you're out there for a longer period.
Well, I mean, you know, the professional drivers, you know, Williams Esports, they're going to have these drivers well sorted. They would have done the long runs. So I think, you know, we never know. Actually, let me take that back. This is round 1 of a long championship. It's a brand new car. Let's not forget, this car was only released on the 1st of September. So there'll be a lot of question marks. And we go into this race, and really, it's hard to know what the form's going to be. Anything can happen.
All right, we want to speak to the early pace setter in qualifying as well. Ben Spanky, about the qualifying there. And, wow, so close yet so far. Can you hear us okay? Just checking.
Yes, thank you. I can hear you perfectly.
Perfect. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, great job. You had pole. Did you expect to get... Well, you had pole for a long time, got pipped at the end. Were you you're surprised about that, or was that going according to plan? Hi, just saying, was that going according to plan?
Bence, can you hear me better?
I can hear you better than Alex, yes.
Okay,
sorry
I think it's the microphone here. You were on pole, you're sitting in P1 for most of qualifying from when you banked your first lap. How disappointing was it to lose out just there in the final segment?
Yeah, of course, I was a bit sad to see Stefanko leapfrog me in the closing stages of quali because, of course, I was kind of surprised even that my first lap was so good, and I expected that no one would beat it, but you know, this is what it is. Good luck to him in the race.
He was also talking early on, I don't know if you saw the interview, we just spoke to him about that final sector, the final corner, the penultimate corner being very tricky. Do you think that's one of the key facets to getting a hold of this race, to understanding the track?
Yeah, like the whole track is quite difficult. We have very different types of corners here, so you always have to make a compromise with the setup, so it's not gonna stick everywhere. So either you have to compromise downforce or top speed. But personally, I'm a bit struggling in the last sector, so that might be an advantage for them. If I can't keep it in DRS, then I will be in trouble.
Hey, I need to ask also about the car. It was selected about a week ago. How are you finding it out on the track? Is it easy to control?
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's powerful. It has power. You know, very difficult to master, but that's what we sim racers enjoy the most, I think.
That is true. I'm just going to flip the mic to you here, Alex. Any final questions?
No, good luck for the race. For the strategy, what tires are you starting on?
Thanks. We are taking hard tires.
Yeah, tire wear is going to be tough.
Yes. No way we can manage it on medium. So maybe others can do it. Let's see what they are up to.
Good luck.
Thank you very much,
Thanks.
then. Good luck for the race, Spence. I'm surprised you asked him. I'm surprised he actually gave his answer.
That's great.
Did that catch you by surprise, his answer, Hearts?
Well, we're used to people being quite cagey about these sort of things. Maybe he won't answer us next time. But yeah, I think with tire wear at ×3 for race 1, I think hard tires are the way to go.
Okay, well, we've had the qualifying. That's just the appetizer, the entree, as Amo likes to say. What about the main course? 2 main courses, as a matter of fact. Allow us to go for a very quick commercial break. When we return, we have more E1 Championship 2022 action just for you. It's... This is the E1 Championship 2022, organised by Axel Sports, EGG and Astro, supported by MAM, that's the Motorsports Association of Malaysia, and Raceroom. We're broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. All you have to do is look up E1 Championship and we're right there live, and you can watch repeats later on as well at your own discretion. Plus we're on Arena and Suka as well. If you've just tuned in, sadly you've missed the qualifying, but we're going to help you out. We've got our two commentary duos here to talk us through what happened minutes ago.
And it was the Europeans who really took the top honours. We're expecting a challenge from Europe Ammo, and that's exactly what we got. And it's the local guys, the ones we want to really step up from a selfish Southeast Asian point of view, who struggled.
Yeah, what we can safely say is, like from the Halo video games, when they want a war, they've got a war. And the war is truly on between these guys. So really then, it's interesting to see how the rest of the Asian contingent can fight against these fast Europeans.
Okay, let's have a look at how the official qualification ended. And it was Martin Stefanko from Williams Esports, fastest. Ben Spanky in P2 picking up 4 points. Jack Keithley for Williams making it a 1 and 3 for Williams Esports, picking up 3 points. Mohammed Tasby, the best of the Southeast Asians for Team Flash, who are of course the defending team champions, and defending champion Mohammed Ibrahim in P5 picking up a single point. But Martin Stefanko for Williams Esports will start on pole. Okay, and we're not far away from the race itself, and having got off to such a fine start, are you anticipating that they're going to be leading the way, Williams Esports? It is great to get that big name in, but I was hoping they were going to be shot down a little bit, with a neutral hat on, of course.
Well, I wouldn't say neutral, to be honest. It sounds a bit more like you were almost hoping that they were not going to perform, but great to see Williams Esports right up there and putting not everybody to the sword just yet, but the first blow has been given by them. Will they conquer the whole race? Remains to be seen, but if they were to be first and second, 1 and 2, they might just try the whole station and hold everybody back.
Okay, the drivers are just warming up at the moment. There's another minute or so before we get them onto the circuit itself for the first of the two races. Let's head back to Alex and Adam just for a little bit more build-up to the race.
Thanks for that, guys. I got to ask, because I haven't had the opportunity, the qualifying time. How impressive was that?
Well, it's pretty impressive. I think the top 10...
Were you expecting that speed?
Yeah, I was. I was expecting to be close, and I think the top 10 were all within a second, so it was good qualifying. I'm looking forward to the race. I think the grid is about to line up, and we should see it soon. I really don't know how this is going to go. Obviously, Williams Esports, as an F1 team, as you'd expect, look properly prepared, and that's why they got drivers 1 and 3 at the moment. But other than that, it's going to be a very open race.
There's some really, really astonishing times, and we're just waiting for this sprint race, but very quickly, who's going to be the most disappointed from qualifying and be looking to prove a point in this? Very quickly.
Hard to say. I think Mohammed Ibrahim, P5, he'd be very happy with that. Naqib, P6, I don't think he'd be very happy with that. Who's the most disappointed? Hard to say at this point.
All right, let's pass you back over for the race itself, the commentary duo, Des and Ammo.
First race of the season about to get underway at the Sepang International Circuit in Malaysia. The red lights, when they come on, that is when we are started, and the green lights get us up and running. Stefanko and Banky at the back. There is a collision, and that is a big problem there, I think, for Josh Perwin, who was caught up a little bit there. Mohammed Ibrahim caught down in P in the lower positions, but it's Bant Benki and Mohammed Tasby who've got away to the best starts.
Yeah, indeed, and I think that might have been a stall for Ben's Banky, because that car just completely went off didn't even go off the line. I was waiting to see where it... No, it's Ibrahim. Ibrahim has actually stalled on the line, so something wrong with that car, and his teammate has actually got them through both Williams and into the lead.
You are quite right. Mohammed Ibrahim looks like he may well be out of the race, the defending champion, with a nightmarish start. Banky leads from Tasby, Stefanko and Keithley. Kalen Chin takes advantage, get himself up into P5. But Ben Spanky, who posted a very, very quick lap early on, the Slovakian for the Mumbai Falcons team, he is leading a charge as they come up the hill on corner number 9. First lap of this. It's a 15-minute sprint.
Indeed, and we don't have the timing screens, unfortunately, but the leaderboards on the screen. At least we have our timing screens to refer to this. And the guy who has actually made a good start from 4th place is Mohammed Tasby. Tasby has actually managed to also leapfrog the two Williams Esports guys and are in front, both of them. So that's a good start for the Team Flash guys after what happened to Ibrahim. They managed to jump both of them and then some. So coming up to the end of lap 1, it is Ben Spanky leading, but Tasby then would like to challenge for that win, Des.
You're quite right. Ben Spanky has got the lead, coming over the line for the very first time. Mohammed Tasby, big credit to the Singaporean. He is the man who is sticking really, really close to him. The differential is 7/10 of a second. Jack Keithley is on the tail end of Martin Stefanko. There is Keithley.
Yep, Keithley there is, well, he's under pressure there from, in fact, no, he's trying to overtake Stefanko. They've swapped places there, going side by side for a second through turn 2, and looks as though, look on the inside is actually Keithley. Keithley's on the inside, but goes through, gets up to, Keithley on the outside, goes up to third in front of Stefanko, so that's the early warning shots there for the two Williams Esports guys. You do want to avoid getting involved in any sort of incidents from the beginning. We're viewing Stefanko now. He might have been shocked there to get passed by 3 immediate rivals and drops to 4 from pole position, Des.
Absolutely, Stefanko, he's looking pretty calm there. He's an ice hockey player as well, so he can take the hard knocks, but he wouldn't have wanted to have dropped so far down. Let's go a little bit further down and some of the guys who have done well in the past. Let's have a look at Josh Perwin, who's in P9 at the moment. And Josh Perwin, I think, for the Hong Kong Black Arts racing team, him alongside Kalen Chin, I think we're expecting them to be offering a little bit more of a threat than being this far down the field.
Yeah, it's quite a surprise, isn't it, to see after the highs of last season. We're on board with Kalen Chin right now, but we are actually watching Josh coming after Russell Reyes. He is in the DRS. We can hear that slight beep. That means that the DRS is open and he's within that range, but can he try to overtake? No, he can't, but guys up in front there, that's Julian Kunze. Kunze's been overtaken by Kalen Chin, or is he challenging him first? Kalen was right behind.
Yeah, Kalen's got through.
Yep.
Kalen's got through to P5, so Kalen Chin gets ahead of Julian Kunze. Kunze tries to make the move back once again. That's a good old battle as they come down the hill. Corners 1 and 2, Kalen Chin temporarily got up into P5, then drops it down into P6 again. There's the two guys. Kunze, the German, who's made quite a living, a decent living out of a racing race room.
And now we're watching further up in front. It looks as though there's a bit of a gap forming between Ben Spanky. In fact, Tasby has actually been swamped by both Williams Esports cars. So he's dropped to 4th place. He's behind both Keithley and Stefanko. So Keithley now up into 2nd place in front of Stefanko, with Tasby now falling into the clutches of Julian Kunze, who himself just got past Kalen Chin. So chopping and changing and happening up in front, and we have completely different orders compared to last season. This is quite an exciting season in prospect, I can safely say so, Des.
Ben Spanky has taken a 1.4 second lead. Jack Keithley in 2nd, Stefanko in 3rd. Kunze has got himself up into P5. There is Julian Kunze. He's in the all-white. Kunze, the German, he's with the Apex Racing Academy team out of Brunei. His teammate is Mohammed Zikri.
Yeah, Zikri right now, his first full season, in fact his debut here today, he's in P12 right behind Inigo Anton, so at least he will be in the points. There's Zikri, we're viewing it right now as,
oh, there's a big problem up at the front.
Oh, that might just be a legacy of the disconnection for Ibrahim. His car's actually not there, it just moved because of a collision box, but we can show you, he's actually not there right now. Okay, so yeah, impressive indeed, isn't it? Banky actually, despite putting in a banker lap that nearly put him on pole position, he is actually running away with this race. So looks like revealing the strategy, being on the hard tires, may not be such a bad thing after all for him, because it's working out absolutely swimmingly for him up in front, and he's well clear of Jack Keithley from the DRS zone by about 1.2 seconds. So if he keeps the gap up for the next 9 minutes that we have in this first race, he will be clear of him. So Keithley then pressure on him to try actually keep up and try to get back into that DRS range. All the while then, he's got his teammates Stefanko and Tasby further behind for company. So really then, it could be a DRS train forming.
Keithley looks a little bit tense in that position. Maybe it's just the way that the camera angle is looking up at him, but Williams Esports absolutely dominating things. Car number 99 and 98. Well, not exactly dominating things, but in P2 and 3, the Europeans, they have come into our backyard, Ammo, and they are showing us how it is done. Let's have a look at Mohammed Tasbi in P4, if we possibly can.
Yeah,
Mohammed Tasbi, as we see Ibrahim, who really, that's a dreadful way to start the defense of your title, isn't it?
Yeah, that's actually just, well, you can safely say when it rains, it pours for certain guys. And for Ibrahim, it's just starting to pour. So unfortunately, he will have to start right at the back for that second race. But looking up in front, the Mumbai Falcons team, at least they can console themselves for the fact that they got a driver leading the way. So that's a good way to start the season.
And there is the man who's leading the way, Ben Spanky. He is extending that lead. I mean, he got off to such a good start. It's just over a second. Nobody's been able to get close enough, though, to utilize DRS on him. And there is Banky. I was very impressed with his interview at the end of qualification when he said he just loves the car. His reaction was one of sheer joy because it's a big, powerful machine.
Yeah, 1,090 horsepower in upstaken, with 160 being supplemented by the hybrid system that they have in here. So credit to the race room team. They managed to actually get this game on this old engine to work with the turbo hybrid in the modern era. So they've replicated quite well, and the cars just absolutely feel fantastic. Despite the capricious handling, it is actually quite a thrill to drive.
Very good, capricious, new good word. Jack Keithley is the man in P2. Let's have a look to see how close Keithley can get to Banky. They're coming down the penultimate straight here. The differential is 1.35 of a second at the moment as they come into the hairpin. Not close enough to get DRS at this stage. Keithley closes in around the hairpin. Stefanko is currently in P3. Mohammed Tasbi, the best of the Southeast Asians, in 4. 5 will be Julian Kunter. Russell Reyes is in P6. Let's just go back to Russell Reyes and see how the Filipino is able to do. This is a storming race from Russell Reyes.
Yeah, indeed. It's a bit quiet, a bit incognito, shall we say, but not a bad way to actually make your debut, especially for the fact that he can be quite aggressive sometimes in that midfield, but when he is in the clear, he can really pull away, and he's pulled away from quite a big battle that we have behind there between his teammate, Kaylin Chin, and Mihai Nek.
Russell Reyes leading the way.
Coming up now to turn 4 then. Well, you can see how tense he is. He really wants to fight that car. Look at that. He has to raise his arm slightly. It's just quite a handful to drive, especially on a direct drive wheel where you can feel the force feedback on that thing. It really can actually twist your wrist if you get it wrong.
Okay, let's go down to see how the sweetheart, Axel Knockom, is able to cope. He's down in P12 at the moment, but considering where he was when the qualification started, this isn't a bad result from young Axel.
Oh, no, none whatsoever. He really has not come himself shame whatsoever. He has driven well. He is in front of his fellow countryman Inigo Anton, and I'm not sure what happened to Anton to be that far behind in the first race of the season, but scoring points, that's often very good, isn't it? Because that's what you want as a driver. Even though you're in the fringe points still actually does help with your confidence.
Yeah, Anton is trying to get on the tail end of his young compatriot. Anton looking for a way around, but Axel Knockom, let's just see some of his defensive work here. We can focus on these. There's 5 minutes to go. We'll just have a little look to see if Inigo Anton is able to get himself closer to the top 10. Currently P13. This is an all-Filipino battle for P12 and 13.
Yeah, this is going to be a... Well, I don't want to say civil war, but if it's a collision, it's bound to be a civil war, as we can see now. Inigo Anton on the DRS, and let's see if Knockom will use a bit of his battery, because of course they have the hybrid system to use that. The overtake button, it's not enough. It's actually now Inigo Anton right in front of Knockom, so he didn't provide much defense there, but at least they got through that safely.
Okay, let's go back up to the front. Ben Spanky still leading the way. He has been leading since the very, very start, and he looks like he's driving on the limits here, Amo.
Indeed. But despite being on the limits, I think he might be running out of tyres right now, because look at that. He's actually being caught now by both Keithley and Stefanko, so it's a Williams Esports onslaught right behind him, and he has about 4 minutes left to go here to actually stand a chance of winning his first race on his debut. In fact, all 3 of them will win their first ever race this year in E1.
Yeah, he was 5/10 down on the last lap to Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley really has closed up, and there's the battle. Keithley as they come down the penultimate straight. Then they'll come into this tricky hairpin.
What have we got? 3:45 left to go. That is 2 certain laps, maybe. This is 3 laps from here.
Yeah, it's about 1.5 minutes around this entire circuit, this 5.5 kilometer circuit, and look at that. The DRS is on, so he's got to actually stave off a few straights here to actually stand a chance of winning, as Keithley looks at a dink on the inside, but thinks better of it. He doesn't want to get into a collision because, of course, there's penalty points on offer, and that's 30 for race 1. In the case that they might have had collisions prior, they want to avoid getting disqualified in the first race, Des.
We really will come back to this because I suspect Keithley will get closer and closer. He's 0.3 of a second behind at the moment. No real utilisation here on the DRS system. So Ben Spanky, who's been in the lead since the very first lap, Ammo, is now feeling the Williams esports team breathing down his neck.
Yeah, indeed. This is, well, it's an awful feeling, actually. Despite being in the lead of the race, he does have a teammate to cover for him. He has to fend them off themselves, and Keithley and Stefanko know that full well. They can actually just go for a 1-2 punch here, but they're going to hold back for now at least. They're going to probably save a bit of battery, a bit of the ERS that they have here to overtake in possibly the last couple of laps of this race. But Banky also will have some battery left in his bank to actually use that to defend. So really then, it's going to ebb and flow here for the final 2.5 minutes.
Well, I was going to cut away from that, but I can see that Jack Keithley is closing down, and this back straight is an opportunity. Maybe if he can get close enough, he's 0.3 behind at the moment, but this is excellent defensive driving from Ben Spanky. He's been able to keep right the way ahead, but the DRS will be utilised coming over the start-finish line. Slight little mistake, a little twitch from Keithley. Is this the moment when he takes the lead? DRS is being utilised successfully or not?
Whoa! Oh, he dinked one on the inside there, but Banky as well. He actually dinked on the inside very late to actually defend. Now it's going to be game on. Fights on between these two for the first race win of the season. Banky goes outside, and Keithley goes on the inside, which in turn turns to the outside coming out to turn 3. It looks as though he's using DRS again, but Banky, I think, is on the overtake button. He is clear away from the Williams eSport driver. He is defending with all his might, with whatever he's got in that car.
There are 2 laps left, or 1 3/4. I tell you what, there's a little story to tell you here, because Mohammed Ibrahim, who we thought was out, has got himself back into the race, and he's got himself up into P6. That is one that is beyond my comprehension, but I'm sure you can tell me.
I think that might be an error in the game, because we saw his car just now stalling, so it might just be a glitch in the matrix, you might safely say, or we're in another alternate universe. But either way, Ibrahim, for sheer fact, is still in the race, and he's in front of the equally aggressive Russell Reyes. This was one of the battles that I was hoping will come quite soon, but not this soon. This is going to be really fun to watch, Des.
Yeah, this is Russell Reyes. Let's just focus on this. I'm keeping half an eye on Banky and Keithley if Keithley makes a move, but Ibrahim in P6, the defending champion, against the aggression of the Filipino Russell Reyes. For once, Russell Reyes making the noise out of the Philippines. As he comes down, is he close enough? He can use his DRS, and he will try and use his DRS here. And Russell Reyes tries to go on the inside, successfully does so, takes a P6. The switchback is on from Mohammed Ibrahim, but Russell Reyes has got there, back up to the front, because this is the movement. That time Keithley was trying to go on the inside, coming down the hill. This is intense pressure from Jack Keithley on Ben Spanky.
Wow, look at that. The DRS also helped out, because look at that. They pull away from Stefanko. They're going to dink left and right. This is almost like Nico Hulkenberg and Nicolas Lapierre back in 2005 for the A1 GP race. And he's gone through. Keithley's gone through for the lead.
Right, Jack Keithley has got himself into the lead for the very, very first time. This is the last lap. Has he got the wherewithal to stay ahead?
Oh, that's going to be a tall order, isn't it? Because Banky as well might have conserved enough battery to actually attack on this last lap. But he doesn't have the DRS, crucially. Keithley does. So Keithley might be able to just hold on for this and try to win it for himself for the first time ever in his debut race.
There's him looking back. Williams eSports on the tail fin. Ben Spanky is the man who is chasing. That's the battle for the victory. That's the battle for the 25 points. 137.2. It's what's the fastest lap? 136.2. So Keithley is looking for a 27 points here. This is the moment. This is the moment when Banky has got to make his move, but he can't. Keithley has just swept away from him. And Jack Keithley from the United Kingdom on debut is going to come through to take maximum points. He gets the victory, punches the air in delight. Banki second, Stefanko third ahead of the best of the Southeast Asians, Mohammad Tasbi. Julian Kuntz coming in through in P5. Mohammad Ibrahim comes through in P6. But there is your race winner, one Jack Keithley, Esquire.
He was exultant, he was exuberant, and he had every justification to be really happy with that. That was a Hail Mary and a half to overtake for the lead and held on to it quite nicely. What an absolutely brilliant race. And this is the first time ever, I think, Des, we had 3 newcomer podium sitters for the first time since the first ever race of E1 back in 2020.
Well, it is one of the challenges for the Southeast Asian and Asian racers that we put up to them. We're going to give you genuine world-class opposition, and it doesn't get much better than Jack Keithley and the Williams Esports. Ben Spanky had the lead for such a long time, saw it taken off him on the last lap. Very similar in many ways to what happened in qualification. Banky had the fastest lap for a long time, and Keithley came through and took it. That's a brilliant performance by 24-year-old Jack Keithley, who is from Ipswich and will be... What time is it over in the UK at the moment? 8 hours difference, isn't it? So it's in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
He's in a good position, isn't he?
And the good thing for him is he's not a choke artist compared to Ipswich Town, I guess. So sorry about that, Jack. I just had to say it because the amount of times they've been in the playoffs. But credit to where it's due. Amazing race.
Right. Jack Keithley takes the victory and the fastest lap. He'll pick up 25 points. Ben Spanky in P2. Stefanko in 3. Tasby in 4. Kunze from Germany, the privateer, in P5. Mohammad Ibrahim, well, we thought he'd missed out at the very start, but he retook P6 from Russell Reyes. Josh Perwin, who we didn't really focus on, and Presley Martono and Neg from Romania completing the top 10. Kalen Chin, Inigo Anton, Hogfeld, Mohamed Zikri and Ben Seek will all pick up points. Pretty breathless.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. And it was only a 50-minute race. I can't imagine for the half-an-hour race now, Des.
Okay, let's head back to the hosts, Alex and Adam, just to pick the bones out of that.
Thanks for that, guys. We'll, of course, be speaking to some of the drivers involved momentarily whilst they get ready. What did you make of that? What a finish, by the way. The conclusion.
Last lap overtake. What's the last lap overtake? Was it? Yeah, it was last lap overtake. Banky, he looked so measured in the halfway through the race. I thought, okay, he looks like he's got this covered. But Keithley, just the pace he showed at the end, he was really patient with the DRS, wasn't trying anything risky, had a couple moves. Banky had almost a movement in the braking zone, which to defend, which I think was right on the limit. But yeah, Keithley just bided his time, used the DRS well, and rewarded with a great win.
I got to ask though, tyre degradation, do you think that's what it was? Ammo was rightly pointing out. I think there was about 4 minutes left, questioning whether Benz can actually hold on to this.
Well, we should ask them, because that could have played in the hands. Maybe Bianchi was just taking too much tyre life out in the first half of the race, allowed Keithley to sneak in.
Let's speak to the race winner. I believe Jack Keithley should be standing by. Jack, can you hear us loud and clear?
I can indeed.
Great to speak to you. What was your assessment of the race there? Because, like Alex was saying, you were incredibly patient, just biding your time, waiting, and snatching the opportunity when it came.
Well, you know what? I'm learning things as I'm going along. I learned something from qualifying and learned something in the race, and that did actually aid me a little bit. But that was a really fun race. I did not expect that from the bad start I got. And really good battle with Bench as well. Great guy. I've always had great battles with him, and that was a really fun race. Also, props to my teammate Martin for letting me go when he had battery problems.
We got to know, what did you learn in qualifying and in the race? Are you allowed to share? Okay.
I'd rather not, but some things I'm pretty sure everyone else is doing, or most people. It was just something I did not do until my teammate pointed it out after qualifying, and that helped me a bit.
Okay. Alex?
Okay, great. I mean, so were you looking after the tyres? It looked like you had a bit of a better car under you towards the end.
Well, I was saving tyres a bit, but we also worked really hard on the car for race runs. we didn't focus too much on qualifying. So with the race car, we knew we had a strong package. It was just being the right place at the right time, and that's how it was. The stars aligned, and I'm just really looking forward to the next race now.
Yeah, you look like you've sweat, a bit of sweat there, a bit of hard work as well.
I was shaking. I was getting Christian Horner syndrome with my legs. I tell you, just shaking on the last 2 laps. When I was right behind Benson, I could see a chance for a win. But you never know until you're actually at the line in first. So you just try not to get too excited, really.
We got to ask though, Williams looking so strong. Your teammate Martin in the qualifying, you in the sprint race. What's going to happen in the reverse grid?
Yeah, well, Martin is very, very fast. I mean, he's racing F1 eSport. He's a top guy in these cars. He just got a bit unlucky with the... I think he had a problem with the battery deployment, hence he let me go. If he didn't have that problem, I would have stayed behind him, I reckon. Because unless he makes a mistake, there's no point me pressuring him when the leader's in front of us. So, but yeah, we've got a very strong team, very strong package here as a group, and we're looking to progress for the season ahead. And also, shout out to a good mate at work who's watching, Tom. I hope you're doing well, mate. This race was an absolute joy to do, I tell you.
It sounds like I almost forgot Tom's name. But okay, Jack, we'll let you rest up and get prepared for the next part of the show, of course. Speak to you shortly. But Alex, what was he implying? What do you think he learned? Because it seemed to be 2 things: one in the qualifying and one doing that race.
Well, the thing is, when you got a brand new car like this, there's so much to cover. I mean, you know, it's like a modern Formula 1 car, basically. You got the battery deployment, the MGUK, all the setup stuff, and when you learn it, you just kind of got to sweep and go through all of it, and you just don't have enough time in a week to cover everything. So that's why we're seeing people make big jumps at the moment, and also people making big jumps, and people also not quite being as quick as we expect. You know, Mohammed Ibrahim, I thought would be quicker. The Azam brothers, I thought would be quicker. They actually got disconnected. So disaster for Sam 9, got disconnected for the race. They'll be back with us for race 2, hopefully. Hopefully they fix the connection issues. But yeah, great race. It's what we love about E1. We want to see it close, and we certainly had that.
I think we got someone from Team Flash right now, Mohammed Tasbi, speaking to us right now as well. Just testing. Can you hear us, Tasbi?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just
it was a really solid start you got off to. It seemed to be involved in a real heated battle before dropping off a bit. What was your takeaway from the race?
Actually, still quite positive from our side, because I think before last night we were second off, and we found like near enough a second or just a few adjustments from the setup. It's quite hard to figure out. But I just got reached on the curb and made a mistake. But apart from that, still hanging on to the leaders a bit. So quite positive from our side.
Okay. Alex? And so what were the tweaks? You're not going to tell us what tweaks you found yesterday, are you?
I'll tell you guys at the end of the season, probably.
Yeah, okay, no worries. But a great start. I mean, obviously your brother, Muhammad Ali, is in America, not racing with us. He was Season 1 champion. So the start, you got to tell us to the start. Was he in your ear helping you with that?
No, I think we just practiced quite a lot on the setups, and we spent like day and night trying to figure out everything, and that was one of the things we sort of perfected luckily. Okay. And it worked out well, so I hope to do that again in race 2.
Well, hopefully you have a great race in race 2. Any particular strategies? What are you going to have to look out for? ×2 tyre wear, so the tyre wear will be a bit less, but of course the race is twice as long.
Yeah, twice as long, and the fuel is ×3, so pretty sure the cars can't actually go the whole race without refueling too. So it's going to be very interesting what teams do, and our strategies will keep it close to our chest. But yeah, we'll see later on.
The early pace setters, Williams eSport, racing out of Europe, obviously, and we're hyping up the Europeans coming to our backyard here in Asia, Southeast Asia. But they are the pace setters. So how are you feeling about this? It's pride at stake as well.
We're not really really shivering or anything. It's the first race of the season. I think what's most important for us is to get the basis and the base of the car right first. You know, the base can come on even halfway into the season. If you get the car perfected, you still have a solid chance of championship. But for us, it's just one race at a time. GG's to them. They've got a good car right now, but we're hoping that we can also find that time.
Okay, thank you so much. Good luck, and hopefully we'll be speaking to you again very, very soon indeed. Tasbi from Team Flash, and
yeah, calm head and those shoulders, huh?
calmer than his brother, I think.
Yeah.
I hope his brother's not watching right now.
Oh,
I'm just
he's
joking. Just
definitely
joking, of course. Anything to look out for during the reverse grid? What are you excited about?
So I'm interested to see the strategy. We've seen the new car, you can overtake, but it is a bit tricky. You can see everyone's struggling. The traction, you know, the turbo, 1,000 horsepower under your right foot makes it really tricky to get out the slow corners. You can see a lot of the teams struggling with that. So tire wear, looking after the rear tires is going to be important. And of course, strategy. So time 3 with the fuel, I think they're going to have to refuel during the race as well. Will it be a one-stop? Probably a one-stop. I think everyone's going to try and do a one-stop. I can't see anyone going for a two-stop, but strategy is going to be important. And of course, that reverse grid race, you got to get through the traffic, you know. So if you're one of the quicker guys, you have to be a bit patient.
I'm going to bring in one of the commentary team, Ammo, to ask about Mohammed Ibrahim. It was a traumatic start, to say the least. Yeah, well, he saw him fighting for P6 come the end. What did you make of his performance? The Maverick out there.
Yeah, I think Adam, he was quite incognito, if I'm honest, because we didn't see the best of him. Of course, the start was traumatic because we thought that, oh, that might have been him out of race already, but he actually got back into it. So maybe there was a bit of an error on the server part, but for him to get back into the race and fighting for the points, I think he will be a bit more circumspect now coming into the second race because he wants just to get a good start to the season. So really then, so long as that nothing else goes wrong for him, I think he just wants to have a solid weekend, Adam.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Ammo. And to borrow the phrase you use while describing him during the race, when it rains, it pours. Will that continue to be the case for Mohammed Ibrahim during the next race? Will the Williams continue to dominate? Will the Europeans continue to dominate? Can't wait for this one. We're going to go for a quick break. When we return, it's the reverse grid. Stay tuned. Back once again for E1 Championship 2022. This is just race day 1. It's organised by Axel Sports, EGG and Astro, supported by MAM. That's the Motorsports Association of Malaysia and Race Room. We are on Arena, Plasuka, and you can tell your friends around the globe. We're also on YouTube and Facebook. Just look up E1 Championships, as simple as that. Alex, I didn't get to pick up on this because time is of the essence, the racing strategy, and I was just talking to the commentary team during the commercial break. Why one stop?
Okay, so you lose a lot of time, obviously, going for a pit stop. So what do the guys find to prefer to do in race room is just try and look after the car, make the tires last a bit longer, even if it means you sacrifice a bit of lap time, so you can just do the one stop. To make a two-stop race work, you got to be flat out every lap, every single corner to make up the time that you lose doing that extra stop. And the drivers got very clever at figuring out how to still be quick without killing the tires. Yes, you lose a bit of time, but not too bad. So all the experts in race room will figure this out so that they can try and minimize that and just do a one stop.
Perfect. Well, if you missed out on the sprint race earlier, we've got the highlight package ready just for you ahead of the reverse grid. So back over to Des and Ammo.
It was all a little bit chaotic at the start for Mohammed Ibrahim. Have a look, he spins a little bit. We thought he'd crashed out. He would recover to come back into the race and pick up points. But while he was having a problem, Ben Spanky up at the front, Amo Haziq, was getting off to a storming start. P2 in qualification, but very, very much quickest on the opening couple of laps.
Yeah, he punched through to actually carve his way through the Williams Esports guys. And this was actually the first real sign that it was a precursor to what happened later on in the race, where Keithley attacked Banky. But Keithley himself said that he had a bad start, so really surprised. He said that he was surprised to get back up there. But boy, oh boy, it was a great battle. And so is this one between the two Filipinos of Anton and Nocom.
Yeah, but it's really at the front that we were looking at it. Ben Spanky had to withstand some fearsome pressure from Keithley, but the Williams Esports racer would eventually get himself through, and that's frustrating for Banky. There's the moment where Williams go and take the victory. Then he's got to hold on for the final lap. Banky tried to put him under a vast amount of pressure, but Jack Keithley for Williams Esports takes on his debut the victory.
Yep, and well, the first ever time that we had 3 debutant podium finishes since the first ever race of E1 in Season 0, Des.
As for Mohammed Tasbi, he was the best of the Southeast Asians for Team Flash. Mohammed Ibrahim recovered, get himself into P6. Good battle he had with Russell Reyes from JMX Phantom for that P6. Josh Perwin, based out of Australia for Black Arts Racing, the Hong Kong-based team actually. President Martono 9. Mihai Neg on debut for TX3, completing the top 10. In the overall, well, it's early days, but Jack Keithley, look at that. He qualified in 3rd place, so picked up points for that. He also picked up the fastest lap, so it's a 30-point, 6-point lead overall from Ben Spanky. Stefanko in P3. Very early on, the Europeans have laid down that marker, Amo.
Indeed, and Tasbi, the best of the Asian contingent, up in 4th place. He did say that he was taking one race at a time, but if he was, you know, putting it at the glass half full type of situation, that's not a bad start to the season.
Okay, we hand over for more analysis, more questions to Adam and Alex Young.
Thanks there to Des and Ammo, and we've talked to Jack. I wanted to speak again to Ben Spanky because he must be incredibly frustrated. He must be incredibly annoyed. Looking at the race highlights, I mean, he's in P1 for the majority of that 15-minute race, right up to the final lap. Yeah. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, and you know, as soon as he crossed the line, he was straight on the phone, he's talking to his team manager or whatever, because he would have been going, that race was mine. You know, and he'd be thinking straight away about what I should have done, what I could have done better, maybe.
Tell me what you think you could have done better.
Well, it'd be great if you could talk to him, actually. The question is, did he lose pace during the race? Did he chew up his tires a bit more? Or did Keithley just have better race pace? You know, I don't really think he did that much wrong. He's driving quite well. He wasn't sliding the car around, wasn't doing anything irresponsible. I just think Keithley had some really good pace towards the end of the race. You know, we heard how Williams Esports were focusing on the race pace of the car. And Bianchi just maybe didn't quite have that race pace, but he'll be thinking about it now. So what can I change in the car? Maybe for race 2, it's a longer race. I need to try and find something. And he'll be thinking maybe the front axle, maybe the rear axle, need to improve that. And maybe that'll allow him to have the pace to get a win.
Long-term fans of E1 Championship will know the sprint race itself is 15 minutes. The reverse grid is 30 minutes. That's double the time, double the action, double the drama, hopefully as well. But what does it do exactly? From your previous experience, when it comes to the reverse grid, what usually happens?
A little bit of chaos at the start normally, but yeah, the experienced drivers, they know they have to be a bit patient. They can't just charge into the turn 1 and take 4 or 5 places. You could try and do that maybe once or twice, but it's always going to bite you at some point. So you have to play the numbers game. You know, racing is not really like a high-speed game of chess. It's like a high-speed game of poker. You have to know when to go all in, when to fold. And that's what's going to make a big difference. And of course, let's not forget, no one really looks like they're 100% comfortable with the car. They've only been driving this car for a week. So you can see the drivers are still feeling their way. You can still see the cars do slide around a bit. The setups aren't ideal still. So I think we're going to see a lot of circumspect driving for most of them as they just try and get through the first few corners. Obviously the guys at the front of the grid, that's very different. You know, they're going to try and push. I think they know that they might not have the pace of the guys who won race 1. So they're going to try and get that margin and hopefully hold on to that margin to the end of the race.
I want to bring in Ammo into the conversation once again, because during the commentary for the sprint race, you kept picking up the DRS, and that proved crucial, absolutely crucial for Jack on that final lap. Has it gone to plan as expected? What's it like for the drivers out there once they activate the DRS, Ammo?
Yep. To answer the first question, Adam, it did work exactly as planned, because as we saw in that final lap, he actually had a bit of DRS left from the previous lap. He brought over to the other lap, which in essence, he had 4 goes of the DRS still for that final lap push. So you saw towards the end, he used it to get even further away from Benz up to that final corner, and he couldn't overtake. So the DRS plays absolutely a big role here, especially if you're the driver up in front. But we can also conversely say that if anybody up in front has that kind of slipstream politics that we can say, if they want to jump behind the other driver and get that DRS, we might see that happen. But I'm not sure in terms of sporting integrity that might be up there, because Alex can actually climb quite hard on these kind of, you know, unsportsmanlike driving. So if that were to be the case, then yes, DRS number 1, number 2, number 3, very, very crucial around the circuit, especially with the straights that we have here.
Okay, thanks for that. And I'm going to ask, since he mentioned it, how has the sportsmanship been so far?
So far, the racing's been pretty good. Obviously, we don't know yet. We might get some protests coming through. But most of the protests come at the end of race 2, and obviously that's going to be the job of race control. We have the MEM steward on site to try and make sure everything is fairly done.
Okay, qualifying is done. The sprint race is done. The Europeans have laid the marker, in particular Williams from the UK. So we're ready for the longest race of the evening. Hopefully it'll be the most dramatic. It's the reverse grid. I'm going to take this mic off, figuratively pass it over to the commentary team of Des and Ammo.
All just about set, looking forward to this one. And Southeast Asian pride, Ammo, you're Malaysian born and bred. You want a little bit more of this. I'm trying to see if Nabil and Nakib have got themselves on the server. That was one of the big shocks that we had in race number 1. We're going round the world, and the problem we had was with the boys in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, of all the places, isn't it, that on their home race, they had problems with that. But that's probably just because sometimes certain factors outside the control just really compounded the situation. So really then, no one's blamed for this. It's just external factors.
It's an occupational hazard of e-racing. The good thing is that you are allowed to drop a round, and so this could well be an early droppable round for the Aslam boys. But for the team themselves, they'll be wanting to get some time on the track. So I'm hoping that they are able to get back into the server. But enough of them. The Europeans really bossed race number 1. They'll be starting further down the grid this time. They'll be starting down in P10 and P8. So that is a problem for them, as race 2 gets underway. When the green light is on, we will be underway, and we are off to a start. It is Mihai Neg from Romania who was on the start position, but Mohamed Ibrahim has come through from a P4 on the grid, and he's got himself an early start, and there's contact. Neg is out. Ibrahim is taken out. Neg has actually survived. Jack Keithley has come through into P3 from absolutely nowhere. Inigo Anton also in there, but a nightmare for Mohamed Ibrahim. Great start, but he's bashed down now into P12.
Yeah, and you know what's the double whammy there? Keithley spun it. Keithley has half spun it and into the crowd. It's a chaotic start to race 2 there. I was about to say it's a double whammy for Black Arts because both of their guys are right at the back. Kalen and Josh Perwin were involved in that big one, and alongside Zikri as well. But up in front, Nick then trying to defend the lead. Jack Keithley somehow lost it there. And we did say earlier that these drivers were still getting used to the car. And look at that. Race 1 winner has dropped it all the way to P10.
There is Jack Keithley down into P10. He's made one space. He's taken over Axel Knockom. We'll focus back on him in a moment because we have got a surprise at the very front. Presley Martono, the real racer out of Indonesia, has got off to a great start, and Nakib Aslan is the man who's following. Delighted Nakib has got himself back onto the server. Currently in P2, but under pressure from Mihai Neg from Romania. But what a dramatic start that we've got. Inigo Anton in the groove as well, back in P4. Presley Martono leading the way.
And that's a very familiar position for him. There's a spin. That might be Nakib. It is Nakib. Nakib has dropped it out of the final corner. And look at that. The rest of the field swam by, including his brother Nabil there. What an absolutely shocking start for some of the main protagonists.
Oh, Nakib Aslan hit. Oh, look at him, bottom right. If he could swear, I'm sure he would be swearing right now. But instead, he's just got to refocus and get himself back into some kind of a position. Presley Martono, meantime, up at the front, is happily leading away. Bence Banky has taken advantage of all the chaos as well. Banky has got himself up into a P4, and he's challenging for P3 behind Inigo Anton. Anton in P3, the 18-year-old Filipino. He's under pressure from Banky. Banky tried to go through on the inside.
Well, you wouldn't want to overtake there. Turns 5 and 6 are just no-goes. If you want to go side by side, you're going to end up into the sand or into the barriers on the inside. But luckily, he actually thought better of it and stayed behind Anton. Look at that. Opposite lock there. You really are struggling in the low speeds of this car because most of the downforce is generated from the Venturi tunnels underneath. So in slow corners, the cars are quite a handful, and that's what I refer to when they say that these cars have quite capricious handling.
Safe house from South Korea. That's Inigo Anton from the Philippines driving for that team. In the meantime, let's go up to the front as the DRS is employed. Presley Martono's pulled a 2-second gap over Mihai Neg, and Neg is holding up Inigo Anton. Mohamed Ibrahim, you feel. Meantime, Presley is looking very focused bottom left of our screen.
Yeah, indeed. And first position is quite he's quite accustomed to it because he was the Southeast Asian Formula 4 champion, and this track is a track that he's quite familiar with, so it brings back a lot of good memories for him. And to top it off, if he could win this, it would be just double delight.
Well, it's a long way to go. It is a 30-minute race, and we've got strategies of tyres and fuel, whether or not he's gone with a light load, how he's actually operating. Medium tyre is what he has chosen. Majority of racers have gone for medium tyre. Mihai Neg in P2 has opted for a hard tyre. That means he wouldn't try and go the whole race without a change, would he? That's not possible.
No, that is definitely not possible, especially the fact that we have ×3 tyre wear for the ×2 tyre wear, but ×3 fuel. So fuel and tyres can become quite a factor. But as Tasby said earlier, they might just actually go for no fuel, but the tyres they have to really watch out for. And for Neg, that might be just a good strategy then. He might struggle at the start of the stint, but once he gets onto the medium tyres, which we presume he would, he might actually go on a flyer for the end of the race.
Okay, so Neg is in P2. Meantime, Presley Martono is increasing that lead. The battle is from Ben Spanky, who's second fastest in qualification, second fastest in terms of race number 1. Here he's second best to Mihai Neg, but is closing in. Mohammed Ibrahim is the man who's just behind him, and this is looking a very, very strong Mumbai Falcons team out of India. 3 and 4 at the moment for Banki and Mohammed Ibrahim.
And Banky aiming for a double podium here to really set himself up for the rest of the season, because if you have a good race here, you definitely want to carry on that momentum. As he goes onto the inside with the DRS, overtakes him, and Ibrahim follows suit. So Neg then thinking better of it because he's on a completely different race from the rest of them. He's on the hard tyres, they're on mediums.
Okay, let's have a look at the Aslans. Nakib had that dreadful, dreadful moment, but has manipulated himself back into P8, Nakib Aslan. The pride of Malaysia, he and his brother. They missed out on race number 1, but the Sem 19, I'm delighted to say, are right back in the thick of the action. Nakib under pressure from Russell Reyes in the middle of the table. P8 it is for Nakib, 3 seconds behind his brother Nabil.
Yeah, and I was about to say earlier with Nakib, he'll be feeling rather Assyrian because he's lost his title for 2 seasons in a row. He wants to get it back, but not starting on the front foot for this one. He had to miss that first race. Now he's just, in essence, going for a game of catch-up for this entire round, Des.
Certainly is, trying to make as much as he can. Right, there's a battle for P5 at the moment. Inigo Anton is feeling the heat from Martin Stefanko. Stefanko, remember, it was who took pole position in qualification. So he was first on the grid and he got himself a P3 in race number 1. Stefanko in the second of the Williams. He is currently in P6, but Inigo Anton is feeling the heat. That's how close he is. Inigo Anton then has to just allow the Williams to go forward, tries the switchback. Does Anton, can't get it, so Anton loses a place to Martin Stefanko. Anton at one stage was in P2, has now dropped down to P6, Ammo.
And now he's actually fighting back, actually coming up to the back of Stefanko, tries to go around the outside. Look at that, both of them actually have DRS, but Stefanko has the better line and holds on to P5 as a driver has actually gone onto the pit lane at the back there. I saw it was looking like one of the Black Cards cars. I presume it's Josh Berwin's, so Josh has gone to the pits. Meanwhile, the other Black Cards car, Kaelin Chin, has been in the pits, but he has also compounded his race by not only having the spin, but he had a drive-through penalty on top of fixing his car, so really then not a good race for Kaelin.
Here is Josh Perwin. Josh, an Australian who knows how to win races, racing for Black Arts Racing out of Hong Kong. He's alongside Kaelin Chin, who is at the moment right at the very, very back. Josh Perwin currently racing in P11, a long way behind Julian Kunze, who's in P10. I think we expected a little bit more of Julian Kunze, didn't we?
Yeah, we kind of did, because we kind of highlighted how he's actually one of the top 1% drivers in Race Room, and he did struggle kind of like in that first one, but struggling all the way out to P5 maybe just to put a shine on it, but in his high standards he might say that he would have done better.
I'm just going back to the battle for P5, where there's a real battle going on between Mihai Nej in 5, Inigo Anton and Nabil Aslan. It's Nej in the green and black livery who has just got the advantage at the moment, so they come down. Anton tries to go on the inside of the hairpin at the end of the long straight, and I think Inigo Anton has got that place back that he lost, and Nabil Aslan is trying to capitalise as well. Indeed, Neg, for the second time in our views, has lost 2 places on 1 corner.
Yeah, it might be a sick feeling, isn't it? But it's because it's no fault of his own. He just hasn't had the pace so far because he's on the hard tyres. So again, we have to stress the fact that he is in a completely different race, so he's gonna have to let those guys through. He cannot be in this fight, otherwise he might compromise his own race.
Okay, let's go and have a little look at our race leader. We've rather ignored Presley Martono. We're not used to seeing the JMX Phantom of Presley leading, and he's leading by over 3.5 seconds. His lap time of 1:36.7 is the second fastest out there. Banky has been quicker. Actually, 1:35.7 from Martin Stefanko is the quickest, and Stefanko is making a move for P3. So let's go and have a look at that. Martono has just got to focus on metronomic lap times, Amo Hazik.
Indeed, and in fact, if he actually keeps that focus up and goes all the way to win, that will be his first win of his entire career in E1. Best finish previously was P4, so really then he might just put at the back of his mind here. He's just had to keep it consistent, keep those tyres alive as long as he could before he enters the pit lane, and then probably just have a charge towards the end.
Good job, Stato. Stefanko and Banky having a battle royale coming down the back straight. We are on board here with Banky. Stefanko in P3. Banky has just got ahead of him. Mohammed Ibrahim is the car just in front of them. So there's Ibrahim, goes through. His teammate bends Banky. Martin Stefanko is right on his tail. We have had 1/3 of this race as Banky is then taken on the inside by the Williams of Stefanko. Gutsy move by the Slovak.
Indeed, and he took a leaf out of that book that was being written by Jack Keithley in that first race to actually dive on the inside with the DRS, and amazingly he still had enough in him to actually overtake Banky, because normally when two cars have DRS, when you're in a DRS train, you can't overtake, but somehow he managed to make that work. Probably he had a bit of battery left in the car with an overtake button to use to actually overtake. So now he's going to focus on trying to overtake Ibrahim and probably set his sights on pressing Motono up in front.
Stefanko is trying to get on the back end there of Mohammed Ibrahim. And Ibrahim will actually lose a place, I think, there, because Stefanko, as they go up the hill, has taken the inside, but Ibrahim will not take things lying down. Ibrahim says, "Get out of my way, I'm the champion."
Yes, he's the king right now, and they are all aiming for his crown, but he's not going to give up that crown quite easily. And look at that, that's brilliant racecraft from Ibrahim to actually hold on from the outside, trying to defend from Stefanko. Now he's going to be a bit of a sitting duck, because Stefanko and his teammate right behind him, Banky, also have DRS. He has to give out this for now, but here is where the slipstream politics come into play. He will have the DRS for this next lap, Des.
Yeah, it's all about getting it right for the final lap. We saw that in race number 1 where Jack Keithley was able to take the victory. So Stefanko currently has second place from Mohammed Ibrahim. I mentioned Jack Keithley. He won race number 1. Let's go and visit him way, way, way down the track. This is the race 1 winner, Jack Keithley in the Williams, currently here in P15 in the points, but only just.
Yeah, it's just in front of Zikri. In fact, he's about 10 seconds in front right now. I think he made his pit stop because the indicators on the right-hand side of the timings should indicate that he does a pit stop. So I think it might just either be he had some dramatic spins further behind, or he actually made a pit stop. So we're not really sure yet right at this time.
So he stayed on mediums. Has he made that pit stop? It doesn't show us, does it?
Yeah, we're really not getting any indicators right now of whether or not the pit stop was made, but that would be very uncharacteristic of him to be this far back. Maybe he had damage from that first lap collision where he had a half spin coming out of turn 4, so maybe that's also the reason why he is actually further behind right now.
Okay, let's go on to P6 where Inigo Anton is fighting off Nakib Aslan as much as he possibly can. The Filipino and Nakib from Malaysia, they are used to locking horns frequently over the last 3 years in the e-racing world, and Anton, well, he just has to give way there to Nakib. Nakib has responded very calmly to going down to P12 after having made a good start.
Yeah, that spin may have actually spurred him on there. He might have been given a real wake-up call to get up to that charge, but at the moment at least he still has Anton for company, and Anton coming across the start-finish line will get the DRS next time by, so he's not in the clear of the woods just yet.
Yeah, let's see if Anton utilises it going over the start finish. He does indeed. So he's got himself an extra one for this lap.
Yep. Now,
timed it perfectly.
He didn't have it the last lap, so he has 2 to use anyway. But that will be still useful in his fight, especially the fact that they're on the same tyres anyway. So if any one of these drivers either deploy the undercut or the overcut, whichever goes, they will be in front of each other.
Okay, let's have a look at Julian Kunze again. A guy we expected to do pretty well, but he's in mid-table at the moment, Julian Kunze. He's racing for the Apex Racing Academy out of Brunei. He's a teammate of Mohammed Zikri, but is only in P9 at the moment. Is it just a case of setup, getting used to the car, maybe not in a practice time as he slides off?
A bit of all three, you might say so, because these are very, very new cars. In fact, we just only got a public release of them about a week ago, so really then, now a lot of these guys didn't get the amount of practice that we'd have wanted, but as the season progresses, that might be less of a case afterwards because they will get used to it. As we see a back marker getting overtaken, that's actually his teammate Jake 10. So Jake 10 in the main team, he's in the academy team. So you can see there, proves the point, isn't it? A lot of drivers still getting used to this car.
Back up to the front, Presley Martono. His lead at one stage, at one stage his lead was 4 seconds. As they come over the start-finish line, it's just 2.
Now
and a couple of guys have gone into the pits behind.
Yep, indeed. 2 seconds the lead between first and second, and 2 of the Mumbai Falcons go at the same time. So this will be now the ball in their court. How would JMX Phantom respond to this with the guys deploying the undercut? Will they try to go in the next lap, or will they try to go longer? Remains to be seen, but it looks as though Martono is being caught by Martin Stefanko slightly.
Certainly has. We're just over halfway. It's a 30-minute race. Stefanko, who took P3 in race 1. He's the man currently in P2 behind Presley Martono. The lap time, Stefanko's last lap a 1:35.7. Martono's a 1:37.1. So 1.4 second gain by Stefanko on that last lap. That's either an error or tyre issues. Not tyre issues yet, surely he's on mediums, both of them on mediums.
Yeah, he also didn't have the pressure of anybody right behind him, so he might have used up a lot of his tyres so quickly as Nakib gets a drive-through. So that's the second driver today, besides Kalen Chin, to get a drive-through in the pit lane. So further compounding his misery, doesn't it, that he had to deal with a spin after a good start. Now he has to deal with a drive-through that's going to be detrimental to his progression towards the end of the race.
Let's have a look at P8. These guys have been in. These are the Mumbai Falcons teams. Ben Spanky, who's had a terrific week number 1. He's got Mohammed Ibrahim just behind him. This is P8 at the moment. Mohammed Ibrahim, the defending champion, always does look a little bit frenetic and tense at the wheel. He's bottom right of your screen as he uses the full curb to get the full width of this Sepang circuit. We are just beyond halfway, 13.5 minutes to go. Most people have taken their pit stops, and indeed, Presley Martono, who was the race leader, he has taken his pit stop. And that means that we have got a new race leader in Martin Stefanko.
Yep, and Stefanko now goes long, so Presley did respond to the Mumbai Falcons pitting, but where is he going to come out in relation to the both of them? I hear cars coming across the line. Presley comes out of the pit lane, and behind him, Nabil also has pitted. Where are the Mumbai Falcons? There they are. Banky is now right up to the back as Ibrahim goes on the inside. Oh, that's actually quite close. That would have been friendly fire right there if Ibrahim got it wrong.
Okay, Ben Spanky in 4th place. They've come out behind Presley Martono, but within 2 seconds, and he's on cold tyres, Martono, at the moment, so he could come under immediate pressure. Banky can, well, it just depends how quickly those tyres can warm up. Oh, Ibrahim spins. Mohammed Ibrahim has made an error coming out and has lost precious time. Ibrahim drops down to P10 and screams at himself and at the screen.
Wow, that he was really unapologetic to himself there. He can only have himself to blame. And you were right about to say there, with the cold tires, he actually spun it because of that. So maybe it took a while for the tires to get warm up to temperature, because that spin looked really uncharacteristic for him.
Okay, let's look at Martin Stefanko into the pits. He was leading the race. Mihai Neg behind him must surely come into the pit. So is Neg going to stay out? Neg staying out on his hard tyres. So Stefanko will lose the race lead, and Mihai Neg, oh no, Neg's come in. Hard tyres and all, he hasn't taken it as far as I thought he would, the Romanian.
Yeah,
but depends, what will he come back out on?
Yeah, I think he'll be on mediums. He will try to go on mediums for sure, because seeing how the other drivers, and indeed he has his engineers to tell him what kind of tyres the rest of the drivers are on, so he's going to go for a full blast towards the end, as Martono now retakes the lead of the race, 3 seconds, in fact almost 5 seconds ahead of Stefanko. So Stefanko's outlap has not been really good compared to the rest of the field.
Presley Martono is leading the way. Nabil Aslan in P2. Now Presley, we're coming up to the 2/3 mark of the race, and Martono is on medium compound tyres, as are Nabil and Nakib behind him, as are Stefanko. So in terms of tyre wear, Presley Martono should be okay.
Yeah, indeed. He should be right in the clear right now, and he's on the that's like the medium tires, isn't it? It is. It's
all
the
medium tires, all of them.
So he's on double medium, so that actually helps out for his cause in towards the end of the race, unless of course he does a lot of that. That was a lockup. Oh, he spins! He's actually spun at turn 9. Now that will put everyone else back into play, including the likes of Nabil Aslan, who takes the lead.
Presley Martono, wow, that is just absolutely devastating for him. And this is your new race leader, Nabil Aslan, and his brother Naqib comes through into P2. So Nabil has the lead, and this is a terrific recovery, it's got to be said, by the SEM 19. They missed out because of internet connectivity issues in race 1. They spun out, but both of them had issues in 2. Naqib has had problems galore, a pit lane speeding penalty.
And he goes for that though. You can see just now, Naqib goes for his drive-through, and it looked like one of the other SEM 9 car. No, this is the JMX car. I'm not sure which one's that. That could have been Presley or Russell. It's actually Presley. So
it's Presley Martono.
He's gone back into the pits as well, along with Naqib to serve his drive-through. So he's actually completely worn out those tires because of that spin, and now he's going out for another pit stop. So disaster for the one-time race leader, and for Naqib, that's just compounding his misery because of that drive-through.
But Nabil Aslan, meantime, leads with 9 minutes to go, and it's a healthy old lead he's got from Martin Stefanko as well. Nabil Aslan from the SEM 90, what a response.
Oh, absolutely. It's an incredible response after that, rather disappointing way to end the first race on home ground, but more than makes up for it to rise up back to the front and win it in race 2. So points are still points, and even despite the problems they had initially, a win's a win.
And I've got to give you real props here, because the man in P3 is none other than Russell Reyes. You called him as an outsider. I scoffed. I raised an eyebrow at your prediction. But my word, it looks like you've got it right. The Russell Reyes from the JMX Phantom, whereas it's been a massive problem for Presley Martono, who I hear is now out of the race. Russell Reyes could still get a podium for the team.
Indeed. So at least there's something to celebrate about, actually. A bit of mixed feelings, but regardless, a podium is a good way to start for the team's championship, because remember, there's no drop points for the teams. So any points they can take is a good way to start.
There's a long way to go, though. It's not a podium yet. And Julian Kunze is closing in. The German who we anticipate to have a real influence over the course of this 14-race season. He's got the DRS. He was just 0.8 of a second down, so we'll have the opportunity. Russell Reyes, bottom left of your screen, always looks so tense at the wheel, whereas Kunze is looking relaxation personified.
Yeah, and quite tolerant of the seat, to be honest. He's almost like Justin Wilson back in Formula 1 in 2003, where his helmet was almost touching the airbox. But I guess to him, that's actually his comfortable position, and comfortably now in 4th place. You might say ensconced even, but he actually wants to get up to the podium to really start his account on a high.
So many narratives to talk through. One of them is Jack Keithley, who's got himself up into P12. He's the race winner from race number 1, but he's not going to get any higher than 12 because he's 13 seconds adrift. However, Naqib Aslan has got himself ahead of Josh Perwin. Josh is having a difficult time out there so far today, and Naqib Aslan has got himself ahead of Josh. There is Naqib in P9, Josh Perwin in P10.
We can safely say that for Ibrahim and Josh, it's been like almost a baptism of fire coming back to a platform that they've historically not had the best of success compared to when they were on iRacing. But you gotta say, this is not the best way to start the championship off, especially that both of them were first and second in the previous season.
Certainly were. Both know how to win races. Naqib absolutely knows how to win races. How about Nabil winning a race, though? This was not in the script, was it? And a nervous little... I think you've got a favourite here, haven't you?
No, I mean, I'm looking like he'll be like looking to the script. He was supposed to be coming out of left field completely, and now he is actually right front and center of the entire race fight. So Stefanko then has his sights set on the back of that Sam 9 car, but Nabil will definitely not be looking back. He wants to look forward. He's got about 6 minutes left to go here to hang on what could be said is an improbable win.
I will say, though, that Stefanko picked up 0.6 of a second on the last lap on Nabil Aslan. So all it needs is one little error, and you can make a lot of errors. What have we got? 135 laps to go, 4 laps to go.
Yeah,
this plus 4.
Yeah, this plus 4. So on top of that, how much battery do these guys have left? Because we cannot have the indicator anyway. We cannot know how much they're running right now. But for Nabil, he's gonna have to conserve all he could because he does have DRS. He only has the battery for defense. But if he uses too much of that battery, he has not enough to actually hold Stefanko back in the closing laps.
Stefanko is trying to make his move. Nabil Aslan is the man who has the lead. Russell Reyes is still holding on to P3 quite comfortably from Kunze. Mohammed Ibrahim in 5, Inigo Anton in 6. What battles have we got a little bit further down?
Well, speaking of battles from behind the top 10, there's Zikri with a drive-through. So by my count, that's about 5 drivers having a drive-through this race already. So I think the pit lane here in Sepang has been quite an Achilles heel for a lot of people, because I know for a fact from experience that if you press the clutch or any button that can accelerate the momentum of the car, you're going to get a drive-through, and drive-throughs at Sepang are so easy to get.
Tell you what, Nabil is under pressure because Stefanko is closing. The differential is just 1.1 second. He's nearly close enough to get DRS. If he gets DRS and he can stay close, he could time this one absolutely perfectly.
Yeah, indeed. And this is where the question of how much battery does Nabil have left to defend against Stefanko, because that's the one way to negate the DRS from the guy behind. If you have enough battery, you can actually sail away, but he has to use a lot of regen in the corners, which of course will hamper his handling, because 100% regen can actually make your car understeery. So really then, he's got a lot to think about. The battery, the guy behind having DRS, and the tire life that he has left here. He did stop around lap 10, so he should have a bit of tire life left, but he's going to go up against Stefanko, who looks like he still has enough tires in him.
Well, they were all on mediums. I can tell you that there's a soft tyre for Mohammed Zikri, who's going to have I think he's going to try and have a shot at fastest lap on the soft tyres. He's down in P16, so we'll keep a little eye on him. Stefanko is close enough. He will be on DRS, I think, coming into this, what are we, 3:31 to go. It'll be 3 laps after this.
Indeed, and did you see just now the cars, they were porpoising coming to that final corner, because it does replicate the real world F1 cars where the ground effects are causing this porpoising. You can see here, you can just hear the floor scraping, but from the outside we can see the cars porpoising at about 280 kilometers per hour plus, as now Nabil has Stefanko for company, and if these two battle along real hard, they're going to bring in Russell Reyes as well for a 3-way fight.
I was going to say that. Now, does Nabil let Stefanko pass so he gets the DRS advantage going into the latter stages? That's the politics that you keep talking about.
Yes, indeed. They're bickering and arguing about it on who gets the right to use the DRS. And in this case, if Nabil has that at the back of his mind, he might just actually play that game. But having said that, again, if he has enough battery power in his car, he can use that to mitigate the advantage that Stefanko would have with using the DRS.
You mentioned Russell Reyes. Russell Reyes is just 2.5 seconds down upon Martin Stefanko. He is not out of the equation. There he is in P3. He's just 1 corner behind Stefanko and Nabil Aslan. And Stefanko is closing very, very close onto Nabil. Now then, does Stefanko put the brakes on?
Now that would be interesting, because remember, you got 2 opportunities to use the DRS on the straights here, and he's using it right now, so he's got the remaining DRS that he can use here to attack, while Nabil then, look, he's actually still ahead. The DRS has not been an advantage to Stefanko because he's using the battery power, any battery power he has left in his back. Oh, he spins! He's been taken out by Stefanko, and the hit has actually compounded that. So that will be a controversial finish here, Des.
Nabil Aslan drops from P1 to P4. Russell Reyes moves into contention behind Stefanko. Julian Kunter comes through into P3. You look at the shock on Nabil Aslan there. He just span it. It was a driver error as much as anything else.
Yep, and he was already halfway to spinning anyway, so I don't know if Stefanko had enough time to react because he was that close to him. So that might be one for the MAM stewards to decide on that one. But Martin Stefanko then will make it a double delight for Williams Esports if he hangs on to it, but not for long. But we can't say that so soon, because look, Russell Reyes is only about under a second behind. He could have an opportunity here too.
There is Russell Reyes from JMX Phantom. Presley Martono, he's out, but his teammate looking tense. Those shoulders could use a little bit of massage, I tell you. But Stefanko's also looking a little bit tense as well. The differential is 0.7 of a second. Ooh, this is turning into a real battle. Stefanko has the lead, but Reyes is right on his tail. Will they finish this lap? They will finish this lap, will they?
One more lap.
One more lap.
So it's going to be a real humdinger of a battle here between two really fast guys, with Reyes and Stefanko really known to be quite fast drivers on their day, and today is their day. Each one of them could have their first wins of the season here in the E1 Championship. We have debutants coming left, right and center, taking all the position on the rostrum, Des.
We are indeed going to have a final lap shootout between Martin Stefanko, the Czech Republic racer for the Williams Esports team, and Russell Reyes from the Philippines, driving for the JMX Phantom team from Indonesia. And Reyes has got DRS advantage, or is it an advantage?
Well, again, let's see if Stefanko, he didn't use up all his battery trying to chase up to the back of Nabil just now before that little collision coming out to turn 15. And it's, you know, it's quite sad, isn't it, that turn 15 has become a bit of a bogey corner. Both Aslan brothers have spun there.
Let's just very briefly break away, because Nabil in P4 could come under pressure from Mohammed Ibrahim, the defending champion. Okay, back up to the front. Stefanko has made his move, or Stefanko, Reyes was making a move onto Stefanko. It's 0.2 of a second as they come up the hill. This is going to be dramatic.
Indeed, and remember, Reyes still has, I think, 2 uses of DRS left, just about to use it for that final push. Will he use it on the back straight? I think he might just, but if he still has 1 more left, he can use it all the way to the start-finish line. This is going to be a grandstand finish, Des.
This is going to be exactly the finish that we were after. We are on to the penultimate straight. We are on board here with Russell Reyes. I don't think he's close enough. He's going to have to dart through on the inside. He takes the inside line. Reyes on the inside. Stefanko is able to hold on, and Martin Stefanko for Williams Esports will take the victory.
Oh, that was an amazingly close finish. I think this is one of the closest finish ever in the E1 Championship, and he did not use his DRS at the line, so he might have used it one too many times, and he missed out on a chance to make it an even closer photo finish. But props to these two. They gave an absolutely gladiators battle to win, to actually have a 1-2 here, and gave us entertaining racing.
Martin Stefanko makes it a Williams double, but not for him. But he will probably be going into the overall championship lead at the end of that. You're looking at Russell Reyes, bottom left of your screen, and he looks absolutely mystified. I think he thought he had a DRS left.
Yeah, and you might say a little bit miffed as well there, the fact that he could have had it, but I guess he was a heated moment. He wanted to use that one on the back straight, didn't work out. But these two, look at that, they're driving alongside each other. They know full well that they've given us quite a show, and they're actually using this cooldown lap to just do more for the camera.
I can tell you that Julian Kunze has come through in P3 as well. So the German has given the Brunei team he's racing for a really good result at Apex Racing Academy. They're not used to appearing on the podium. Now with Kunze, they will be appearing there regularly, you suspect.
Yeah, in fact, the parent team as well have never been on the podium at all. So really then, for the sister team to be up there, that's a real bonus for them.
Stefanko takes it from Reyes. Kunze in third. Nabil Aslan, that spin costs him fourth. Another solid result for Mohammed Ibrahim in 5, ahead of Inigo Anton. Good recovery from the Filipino in 6. Neg takes it 7th, the best position for the Romanian. Then we've got Banki in P8, Naki Baslan down in P9, Josh Perwin in P10. Fastest lap going to Keithley, who reverted to soft tyres to put in a big fast lap, so he'll pick up some points as well. Real lot of storylines to get our teeth into. Let's start the analysis with Alex and Adam.
Thanks as always, Des and Ammo. Alex Young alongside me, and I think the big winner today has to be Martin Stefanko. Fastest in qualifying, P3 in the sprint race. P1, as we just witnessed in the reverse grid.
Yeah, so leading the championship as well. So, I mean, they're going to be really happy with that, right? Williams Esports won the race one driver and won race 2 with the other driver. But what an eventful race 2. We saw so many drivers making mistakes, uncharacteristic mistakes, which shows how hard this car is to drive.
Not only is it hard, but you think it's because they're still taking time to get used to it. It's only been out for, what, a week or so?
Exactly. It's only been out for a week. So you can see a lot of them are still struggling with that car. But it made for a really exciting race. We couldn't see what was going to happen until the very end.
And a couple of spins at crucial moments. I think most noticeably from our fellow Malaysian right at the end there for Nabil Aslan. Initially, it looked like contact had been made, but I don't think that was the case, no?
Well, I think I wouldn't be surprised if a protest came in to have a look at that, because we did see that Nabil got sideways there. But Martin definitely helped him around with that contact, so maybe the stewards will have another look at that.
And also, I was noticing, and it's picked up by Ammo, the porpoising throughout the course from 15 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
But to have to handle the porpoising for 30 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's used to it. I mean, that... sorry. That would be the least of the problems. Yeah, the porpoising is there, but it's not as bad as when in the real race car. So
but could that lead to some of the spins?
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
Okay.
All the spins we've been seeing has been out of the slow corners, just handling the traction. Guys just been a little bit too greedy with the throttle. Obviously, setup-wise, they're going to have to work with that, try and make the car a bit more forgiving, especially in the tyre where it starts kicking in.
Enough talk from us. Let's get straight to the race winner. We want to know what he thought about it.
Yep.
Martin Stevchenko, big winner of the day, we have to say, because of what happened in qualifying. He got first, P3, and now P1. Martin, you look exhausted. How was it?
It was hard. I mean, this car is difficult to drive, especially when the tires go off. But yeah, before I commentate on the second race, I just want to come back to the first race. I had an issue with the battery. It suddenly reset to 60% deployment, and after lap 1 I had no battery and I was losing power, so that was why I was losing so much time in the first race. I could have won that as well, but you know, it is what it is. It just happened randomly. I don't know why, but luckily in the second race it didn't, and yeah, made a nice comeback from P7, I think. Then there was a collision. I went down to like 12th or something, and yeah, managed to just win the race. So yeah, it's fantastic start. I'm sorry for Jack because he was fast as well, but he also had his incidents of his own in the second race, and yeah, then got a drive-through penalty, I think, as well. So unlucky for him, but as a team we did a great job. The car was fantastic. We were the fastest on track. So yeah, really happy with it, and yeah, looking forward to the next race. It's going to be exciting.
Alex? And the tyre wear. I mean, was it a big job looking after the tyres? It looks like you were managing it as well. The first few laps looked tricky. Did you also get involved? As we saw, Jack kind of took the lead, dived down the inside and had a spin at turn 3. Did you get involved in that?
In that spin, yeah, because basically Jack, I don't know if somebody spun him or he spun himself, but he had a half spin. The guy that was ahead of me, he made contact with him, and I was right behind him, so there was a slight nudge, but luckily I don't think the car was damaged. At least I didn't feel like it was damaged. I lost some positions, but the car seemed okay, so yeah, got involved in that. Unfortunately, I had nowhere to go, so yeah, that was unlucky, but yeah, made it work in the end. Yeah, that was a good race.
And there was once more incident. I think with 3 laps to go, you were chasing the Sem9 car of Nabu Aslan. I think he had contact at the last corner. What happened there?
I'm not too sure, to be honest, because when we were exiting the corner, he was already going into a spin. So I'm not sure if I touched him or not, but his car was already going into a spin. So then you also have the pink, you know, it's a bit tricky, you know, trying to figure out where the car actually is, because the cars are moving around a little bit. So it's difficult to be 100% precise. So I don't know exactly if I nudged him or not. I don't know. But his car was already going into a spin, so I think either way he would have spun. So yeah.
Okay. At the end, you were neck and neck, literally right up to the final second with Reyes. What was your viewpoint there? Were you conscious of him on your tail?
Yeah, I was. To be fair, we had a strategy, but we were using less fuel than anticipated, so I should have taken like 20 or 30 liters less, but I could not change the pit stop preset, so I was still stuck with 85 liters, at the pit stop. So I was like 20-30 liters overweight. So I was a bit slower by a few tenths, which probably made a difference. But yeah, I saw him go down the inside. He was half a second behind me. I didn't think he was gonna go for it, but he went. So I just left just enough space there. But I knew that the outside line is a bit better. You can go earlier on the throttle. So I knew that if I just get a clean exit, I will get him. So, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, very pleased because, to be fair, I didn't get much practice. I started practicing yesterday. I had no time. I was busy with other stuff. So I only had like 2 days of practice. So I'm really happy with how it ended. I did not expect this at all. So yeah, fantastic start to the team, and I hope we can continue like that
Yeah,
in the
you're
next round.
biding your time, doing exceptionally well. Last question, Alex, anything?
No, congratulations, well done. We'll see you in round 2.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Okay, I need to ask Ammo this, because I was picking up on your commentary, the lower speed issues during the course of the race. Alex as well mentioned there, one potential cause of the spins we saw throughout the course of that 30-minute encounter. What do you mean by that, lower speed, Ammo?
Okay, so Adam, the thing to point out about this is that these cars are ground effect, so all the aerodynamics is generated at the bottom. But when it's at slow speeds, when the car's not going fast enough, that's when it just becomes negated. It really is all about the mechanical grip. And with the turbo hybrid engine right behind these cars, it can actually cause a spin quite easily. If you are too greedy in the power with the turbo like and too much revs in there, you're gonna spin it around. And sometimes when you turn into the corners where not enough arrows in there, you understeer. So the handling characteristics of the car can actually change depending on how fast you go into the corners.
Okay, I believe we're now ready for our next interview. He really was fighting right till the end. He was biding his time. He was steady throughout the course of the race. Russell Reyes, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can. Hello, guys.
Okay, I need to ask that final lap. What happened there? It looked like you thought there was another DRS zone. I'm not sure.
Well, there was a yellow flag car, and that unfortunately disabled the DRS, so I couldn't push it. You know, when there's a yellow flag, you can't DRS, so that was unfortunate. There was a stopped car on the side.
Oh, so that's why you were only activating your DRS halfway down the straight.
Yeah, because I couldn't. There was a yellow flag car.
Okay, but you must be pleased with that. Showed some really good pace at the end there. You know, to be fighting for the win. You know, everyone's had a really hard to get good preparation for this first race with the new car and stuff. I think was that to your expectation?
I wasn't expecting P2, honestly. I was like expecting maybe P8 or P7. I mean, if we check out the grid, the strength of field is very strong. So
yeah,
I'm very happy with what I did. And unfortunate for my friend Presley, made a mistake in the pit stop.
Okay.
Yeah, so what happened there exactly? Obviously, he spun before he went into the pits. He was in the lead. At one point, he was, almost 4 seconds? All 4 seconds ahead of P2. Yeah. It just collapsed at the end. What's your understanding?
From what he said, I think he forgot to press the request pit. But I didn't see a penalty, honestly, so maybe he forgot to change the tires or something. So,
well, heartbreaking for the team in one way, because I think Presley would have definitely won that race. He had such a good lead, but still made up obviously with that second position by yourself. Great drive.
Thank you.
Can I ask, because there's obviously still plenty more races to go, plenty more points to earn on the board. What have you learned about the car, this week-old car, ahead of next week?
Honestly, it's all about that energy management and like trying to keep on the toe, like keeping it within 1 second of the car in front, so you can, you know, get an advantage, of course, because of the DRS, and not over pushing it. That's all. I think that's what I learned.
Okay, Russell, thank you so much, and we'll speak to you again soon. If not, we'll see you next week for the next race, of course. Alex, that's interesting there, the energy management. I want to get your analysis of that.
Okay, so I don't know enough about the car yet in the game, but there's so many different energy management systems with MGUK and the battery. So I think none of the teams will be on top of that yet. There's just too much information to sift through with only a week to go. So it'll be interesting to see as the season plays out. We'll have to talk to the teams But here's the thing, the teams ain't going to tell us anything. So I think me and Ammo are just going to have to get in the car and drive it ourselves and trying to see how the strategies work out.
Yeah, make sure you share the feedback with the viewers out there. Nabil Aslan, I believe, is now standing by for the next race interview. We saw your face, we saw the frustration, we saw your reaction, Nabil. It's another case of heartbreak throughout the course of this entire race. What happened when we spoken to Martin? What about your perspective there? Did he clip you?
Felt like he clipped me. But yeah, I think first and foremost, I just got really a lot of pressure. It was not that oftenly I get to lead a race somewhere in these kind of levels, so the pressure really got to me, and maybe there's a small mistake at the last corner, but I did correct my car, I think, and then I felt a slight tap on the rear, hence why I spun. But I think looking back at the second race start, we start from last and we still managed to gain a lot of positions at the end, so still good points at the end.
I mean, you started at the back, obviously unlucky to get disconnected in race 1, started at the back, and then you were leading the race, and I was like, wow, I think Nabil might win his first E1 race. So you must be quite encouraged with the race pace, because I thought you were in the 35.
Yeah, we're quite happy. I mean, we don't know our race pace during the 15-minute race, but so far, race pace wise, it did look good. But some top contenders got out from the first lap, so still 50-50 in that department. But still, we still keep on pushing for the next round. So yeah.
Good.
We just spoke to a few of the drivers as well, talking about energy management of the car. Is that something you're still sort of feeling out because it's so new, or did you have a full grasp on it, do you feel?
No, I had to learn quite a lot to just adapt to these MGU things, because this is my first proper hybrid car, because I never played with F1 other games before, so yeah, it's quite a hassle to get used to, but as long as you get the practice in, you'll get used to it.
Okay, I'm just going to ask one final question. How competitive is it between you and your brother? I know there have been issues in the past.
Who told you?
There's a rumor going around, Reddit or something. I'm not sure. I can't tell you.
We saw during race 2, we tried to work out with each other, and there's a team championship on the line as well. So we try our best to work as a team. But if it comes to one of us being 1 and 2, that's game on, I guess.
Oh, we'd love to see it. Okay, Nabil, thanks so much, my friend, and we'll speak to you again in the near future.
You too.
We do love a little bit of competition.
Oh,
he wasn't giving too much away there. Now, I want to also pick up something about the tire strategy during the course, the mediums.
Yep.
Did you think that was a smart approach? Because Meg was on the hards, wasn't he? At the start?
Yeah, I don't think hards was the right choice. I think the mediums was the right choice. I thought Stefanko was going to go for the softs in the end, because he was the longest on the mediums, but he went for medium in the end, which I think was the conservative and probably the right choice. Because I thought when he went long, I thought he might try and finish with the softs, but obviously not confident to finish with the softs, because at that point I think there was 12 minutes remaining. So medium, but just so you guys know, we always ballot the tire wear coming into the race, so drivers always have to react to that to see how they can adjust and adapt.
Final question, really quickly. When it comes to the tires itself and the hards and etc., strategy-wise, how important is it? How early do you think they're thinking about this? How early do you think they're planning?
Well, they'll be planning throughout the week, especially the couple of days leading up. That's when they'll start doing long runs quite early in their preparation. Qualifying, they might only start focusing on the day or maybe 2 days before the actual race. But they'll want to work out how the tire wear affects each track. Because each track, some tracks will have higher energy corners than others, and those tracks, the tire wear will be higher.
Now, the reason I'm asking this is very simple. We don't actually know where the next race is going to be. We have no idea. We have a bowl, and in this bowl, a whole bunch of tracks. So what's going to happen is we're going to draw one out after a very, very quick commercial break. Alex will be doing the honors alongside me, and I'm sure the drivers and the teams will be watching to see in exactly 1 week's time where we will be racing, the tires, the strategy, and how they're going to be forward-thinking ahead of race 2. See you for that in just a moment. This is E1 Championship 2022. This is just race day 1 and it has been electric so far. My name is Adam Carruthers. I'm sitting alongside Alex Young. It's organised by Axel Sports, EGG and Astro, supported by MAM, the Motorsports Association of Malaysia, and Raceroom. Now we're Arena, Suka, and we're also broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube. Just look up E1 Championships, as simple as that. Alex, we still have a few more things to do. So, looking at this is a circuit. It's Sepang. We've raced there, but it's done and dusted. What are you hoping for in the next race?
Okay, so what I think will happen, not really necessarily hoping for, but what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to see less mistakes. This is the first round, obviously, of a new championship with the new car. So we saw a lot of mistakes. Some very unusual mistakes and some very, some of the highly rated drivers. So I think things will calm down a bit more in round 2, and then we get to round 3, calm down a bit further. But that means the small differences are going to be more important. Today we could have had 4 or 5 drivers win race 2, right? But the mistakes were made. People are going to make less mistakes as we get further into the championship, and there's going to be the finer margins that determines the wins.
From the first race to the second race, Jack Keithley, huge drop. Oh, how disappointed is he? What do you think happened?
I feel that it was Jack making a mistake by himself. Sometimes because Jack had a great start. He started 10th, and he had a great start. Went to, a couple cars went off at turn 1, but he came out of turn 2 in 3rd. And then the guy in 2nd, I think, made a mistake. You can see Jack came from far away to dive down into 1st. And he looked like he made it. I thought he was going to come out of turn 4 in 1st, but he just got too excited, too aggressive with the throttle, and he went round.
Okay, well, I'm sure that'll be part of the race highlights. So I'm going to pass it back over to Des and Amo to talk us through everything that happened in the reverse grid.
Indeed, the start was absolutely phenomenal. Jack Keithley, race 1 winner, got himself up into P3. But look at all the accidents that happened on that first corner. So many people falling out, and the end result was that Presley Martono was able to take the lead. Keithley just spins out, Amo, and as Alex said, it did look like a mistake of his own.
Yep, indeed. In fact, I think he just ran a bit wide coming out of there. He outbraked himself, and it will be a similar incident that we see later on with Presley. But also we see just now, look at that, Stefanko was also involved in that big one, as later on in the race we see a battle between Stefanko, the eventual race winner, with Ibrahim and Banki. These three were actually close, but unfortunately something happened later on between the strategies that didn't work out for Ibrahim, for instance.
The Mumbai Falcons, Mohammed Ibrahim, he span out as well. We saw that quite a bit. It's a beast of a car, this, isn't it? Obviously the guys are having 1 or 2 problems controlling it.
Yep, 1,000 horsepower is underneath the right foot, and when you press the loud pedal too hard, that's what happens. You can literally spin, and this is the big battle between Nabil and Stefanko, which might be going on late into the night.
Okay, then it got down to Nabil Aslan. It was the race for him to win it, but he spins out on the chicane at the very end. Sorry, on the hairpin at the very end. That allowed Stefanko to come in. Russell Reyes, to his credit, he really gave this a go, Russell Reyes. However, he would not be able to do it, and Martin Stefanko would go to the top of the overall championship standings by taking that victory by 0.14 of a second. Stefanko takes it from Reyes, Julian Kunter, a nice happy P3 for him. Nabil Aslan has to be content with 4, Ibrahim 5, Inigo Anton best result for Safe House in P6, Neg, Banki, and Nakib and Jack Keithley.
And of course, Neg on the alternate strategy didn't work out exactly as he wanted, because he lost so much pace in that first stint that he got swamped by the rest.
In terms of the overall standings, what a weekend for Martin Stefanko. He takes a 9-point lead into round 2 ahead of Jack Keithley. It's looking very good for Williams Esports. We knew they'd be strong, but that's really strong. Ben's Banki for Mumbai Falcons, 32 points ahead of Russell Reyes. Julian Kunz for Apex Racing Academy in P5. As for the defending champion, Mohammed Ibrahim, that's not a bad weekend. 22 points for P6. Back to Adam and Alex, where we are going to find out where we are headed next, gentlemen.
Thank you very much there, Des and Amo, and Alex has requested I be the one to draw this in terms of impartiality.
Yep.
So how does this going to work?
So we have all the different tracks here, all folded up on a piece of paper out of a roster of 12 tracks, different tracks, and we're going to do this every round, so we can choose the next track for the the next round.
Okay, I'll pull it out and then you can do the big reveal. How about that?
All right.
Okay.
I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to keep my eyes focused in the corner. And here we are. This is it.
Oh, you picked the smaller one. Let's see. Ah, we're at Assen. Assen. So the TT Assen track, it's a shorter track. It's going to be an interesting track.
Why? Why do you think that's going to be interesting, though?
Well, qualifying is going to be important. Assen is for the bikes. It's a little bit more tight and twisty. Quite flowing, though, so it's quite fun to drive. I raced there in Formula Renault back in 1997. Yeah, it's a good fun track to drive, but overtaking will be at a premium. The DRS will not be as strong, so it's going to be quite tricky for cars to get through. It's going to be quite fun.
Now, you said earlier, for round 2, which is in exactly a week's time, you don't expect many accidents to happen. Are you still expecting that, based on this?
I think with Assen, there's going to be a lot more close contact, and I think we could see a couple messy races. Because you're going to get, especially in the reverse grid race, it's going to be harder to get through. So the guys who finish at the front of race 1 and who start, say, 8th, 9th, and 10th, they have to be more patient, I feel. We saw some very aggressive driving today on that first lap, and you could see with some of the guys, they ended up spinning off and going to the back. So I think with this sort of track, well, I don't know, if you take that risk and you make those places, that could win you the race, but it could also mean you damage the car and be out of it.
It's going to be fascinating to see. One final thing to do before we wrap things up, so I'm going to pass it over to Des and Ammo for the overall standing so far.
Subject to appeals, of course. Martin Stefanko has a 46 points for weekend for race day number 1. Jack Keithley from Williams Esports on 37 ahead of Ben Spanky. So 3 newcomers showing Southeast Asia what it's all about, Ammo. There's got to be a response.
Yep, and that response will definitely come from the likes of Russell Reyes, Ibrahim and Tasbih, who are leading the way for the Asian contingent. That will be interesting to see how the rest of the season develops. But if the first round of the season is anything to go by, we're going to be in for a very exciting season now, Des.
It's not only about the individuals, though. There's also a team championship. There's $20,000 US dollars up for grabs in prize money. So that's the individual championship standings we're showing you there. If we move on to the team championship standings, Williams Esports, well, obviously they are racing away with it. 83 points. That is impressive over Mumbai Falcons. JMX Phantom a 36-point weekend. But look at this. Apex Racing Academy picking up 30 points. We're not used to seeing the Brunei team this higher. Black Arts Racing got some work to do. Sem9, that's a good recovery having missed the first race. Teox 3, I suspect, will be disappointed. Team Flash, very, very disappointed. Safe House and Team EGG also in the mix there. But Williams Esports, what a weekend for them.
Absolutely, and right behind them, Mumbai Falcons, a fellow Real World Racing team as well. So game on. We're going to see more of this for the upcoming season.
Yeah, great stuff. Lots still to play for. We've got 6 more rounds to come. And next week we are at Assen. So it's back to Alex, the brains behind this whole operation. And of course, Adam.
Thank you very much, Des and Ammo. A lot more to look forward to. And I just need to ask, I mean, does the next track suit anybody in particular, do you feel, in terms of drivers?
It's difficult to say. I mean, I think it's going to be a fixed setup round as well. So it's going to be more about the drivers, and at least there's no setup work for anyone to do. So I think we're going to have a very close field.
Oh, we can't wait for it. It's very, very easy to remember. Across September, we're live every single Wednesday. So that's today. That's next week, which is what we've been discussing, the 14th of September. And also the 2 subsequent Wednesdays in that September as well. I want to give a big thanks to the race director, Alex, who's going to be up to the wee hours of the morning going through any protests from the drivers. I mean, there's a wry smile on your face because you know it's true.
It's happening. It's
happening. So there might be changes, subject to changes from what you saw just now. Thanks once again to Des and Ammo, the fantastic commentary duo from what we witnessed here today. And we want to thank everybody involved here, Axel Sports, EGG and Astro. This entire event supported by MAM, the Motorsports Association of Malaysia, and Race Room. My name is Adam Carruthers. We'll see you once again 14th September, 9 PM Malaysian time. That is more racing action. Until next time.